back for another game. It's Thursday night football here, and of course the Fremantle Dockers taking on the Essendon Bombers, which should be a fantastic game. Of course, this happening over there in Optus Stadium in Perth. Should be a fantastic game on our calendar today. Round 15 kicks off. So we are not too far away before this game starts in about 3 minutes' time. As I said, should be in for a fantastic game this evening. And of course, we're going to have a little bit of a look at the ladder and where these two teams, of course, Fremantle taking on Essendon tonight. Fremantle sitting 8th on the AFL ladder of 2025 season. They're sitting 8th. They need to win today to cement their spot in the top 8. They'll jump up into 6th spot if they happen to win. And of course, Essendon sitting down there in 12th position on 24 points. They're still 2 games out of the top 8. They need a win to stay in contention for a run at the top 8 later in the second half of this season. They don't want to get 3 games behind, which would be pretty tough ask for the Bombers. They certainly do need to win this on the road over there in Fremantle. Just having a little bit of a look at the ins and outs, of course, for both teams here. And of course, for the Fremantle Dockers, coming into the side, Nathan O'Driscoll. James Aish also coming in, going out. Sam Struskowski and Sean Darcy are the 2 teams going out of the match tonight. No new players. James Ash, of course, is the sub for tonight. And of course, for the Bombers, let's have a look at their ins and outs for the teams. And of course, Vigo Vicentini is coming in with Ben Hobbs going out. The big ruckman, Todd Goldstein and Archer Day Wicks. Vigo Vicentini is the new player, and the sub Archie Perkins. Of course, Vicentini is the milestone player for tonight, and the only one. It is his debut game. There we go. We're only a minute or 2 away from the bounce of the ball to the opening term here. And of course, let's head back to the fixture there. As we can see, we're only a minute out from the game starting. As I said, it should be a fantastic game here this evening. We'll just try and straighten that up a little bit. There we go. Hopefully that's straightened it up a little bit. All right, 50 seconds away from the bounce of the ball. All right, I just want to welcome everybody in. Welcome everyone in. Don't forget, I'll put a poll up. Who's going to win the game, Fremantle or Essendon? Hey, we're going to head down to the coin toss and get down to the play, and we'll take it down to the commentators for the bounce of the ball for the opening quarter, whereas the Fremantle Dockers taking on the might of the Essendon Bombers.
A big opportunity for the Dockers tonight to continue their push up the table for looking for a 5th win in the Royals. To get down to Kath Lockman.
Great vibe down here on ground level. Perhaps more importantly, the surface is looking pretty good. John Ralph documented in the pre-game show just how much work has gone into getting this ground ready 24 hours after State of Origin. It's also the 3rd AFL game in 6 days. So Optus Stadium ground staff have been working very hard, and they've done a pretty good job so far. It's also helped that the rain has eased. It's been a wet week in Perth, but it has eased today, and it's only light rain circling this evening, currently 17 degrees. But weather aside, the footy, well, Fremantle, this is a massive opportunity. 5 of their next 7 games are here at Optus Stadium. It is unheard of for a WA club. So, Pav, Simo, you must be envious. You would have loved this back in your playing and coaching days. But
unfair, isn't it?
They had to take advantage.
This competition. Can't wait for a couple of the big Melbourne clubs saying exactly that. That's a luxury, though. Let's be honest, it is an absolute luxury to have that. And, you know, they were below par, let's call it, as it was in the early part of the season. The Dockers have just started to get on a roll. They have a number of home games here, and crucially tonight, though, that's all they'll be focused on. They have to get the job done against this Essendon team.
The battle in the midfield is going to be crucial. Andrew Brayshaw and Zach Merritt, looking forward to seeing those 2 go at it at times tonight. It's 5 straight years that those 2 players have averaged over more than 28 disposals. The only 2 players in the competition to do that for 5 straight years. Their consistency has been incredible, and Zach Merritt will need to play a big one tonight as well.
Well, we've got Merritt starting on the wing, which is interesting, and 5 starting forward, so
I wonder if there's a bit of a flip there.
You'd say that's Bolton's best position, the old Dustin Martin role. Do the centre bounce and push forward.
Well, here we go. Vicentini in the ruck on debut up against Luke Jackson. Round 15, Thursday night, Optus Stadium, Fremantle and Essendon. We are underway. And Jackson jumped in early. Vicentini did well just to halve it and bring it to ground. Sarong threw a boot in there. Parrish trying to get it out. They do pretty well. Caldwell to send it inside 50. Ryan positioned nicely, just able to nudge backwards and take the mark.
Those Essendon high half forwards got up early into that contest. I wonder if that's going to be a theme for the night, to pressure the Dockers midfield.
Johnson with some run, inboard kick, danger there. Brayshaw went back, centre field over the top. Caldwell, quick hands, trying to get it through. Kako back to Caldwell, rocked up plenty of the footy last week. McGrath will feed it backwards. Zantini with a big bump on Tracy. Doesn't mind the physical stuff. On debut, sends it to half forward right, just through his hands. And then Brennan Cox can mop it up and get it away to Sarong. Off the left boot, good kick across the ground to find Voss. The crowd rise when he gets involved. Stings a kick up inside 50. He missed Jackson. Blackiston across to try to take it. Knew he had support. McGrath working across the ground. Frederick, good tackle, but just slipped it last second. Byzantini getting involved again. Roberts, Guelphy, and Parrish as well. Back to Guelphy. The Bombers get it on the boot. Important contest to win. O'Driscoll back in the side. Martin loves to run and carry. That'll be a good matchup between those two. And Warner sees it to the safety of the boundary line.
So much of the ball, Essendon, and they're known for that. They can open possession on occasions. They've taken it on again tonight. It looks like they're going to take the game on as much as they can.
Bombers have lost their last three as they come across to WA. Competitive in a road match against the Lions a few weeks ago. We're trying to replicate that type of form as Clark took it to ground. It was tackled immediately. It's wrestled away.
Yeah, so you see Gresham in there. He's got his opponent, Jordan Clark, right in there in the stoppage. So that's the one that has decided to head up in there and stop this Fremantle midfield.
Bolton able to extract it. Clark, Brayshaw. Now Johnson. Some time to move. Happy enough to share it with Jackson. He's setting career best numbers for disposals this season, and Pryor takes a nice mark.
That's a very good mark opposed to Pat Voss.
They'll switch it up. Really dangerous one for Laverty. That did well to take it in front of Tracy. Handball put Pryor under the pump. Back to Laverty. They're forced backwards by some Fremantle pressure, but they can hold things up.
This is the risk for Essendon. They like to control the ball. They'll switch the ball if they can and try and kick their way through this defence, which is pretty good from Fremantle.
For Clark.
Yeah, they're just a bit
too wide. With that kick in the end, out of bounds on the full, so they cough up possession.
Good problem, perhaps, if you try and do this and you play a high-pressure side. They did this last week against the Cats. They turned the ball over in their back half, and hopefully this is not the first of many.
And that's been the improvement for the Dockers as well. They've gone from 10th in the competition pressure-wise to the top 5.
O'Driscoll will send it long, and Fife down there. Turn was almost able to take it. Bolton capable of anything from there. Don't tell me. It was so close. Shane Bolton. He is extraordinarily skilled, and he almost pulled off the improbable.
Simon was the coach. Are you saying top of the square or have a go here? Because that looked like a goal from...
He can have a go. He's got the licence.
Look at that.
Some have the licence, some don't. I dare say he
There's the licence.
Several licences I think he carries at the moment. Shane Bolton as the kick goes long. May was there. Gresham at the spill. Good tackle from Ryan. Dislodged the footy. Chapman in there. Footy's allowed to play off the hands of Merritt. Parrish at half-back. Dockers pressing. Byzantini getting involved again. Caldwell across. But Blackiston has to go back to try and find it again. They've been trapped in their back half here, the Bombers. They do well to get it through. Back to Caldwell. A kick errant and wide, and Clark will take it and turn. Turning defence into attack, they go through Jackson. They spoke about wanting to start better than they did last week against North Melbourne. With aggression and physicality, wanted to take it to the opposition. Sarong sends it up to the 50 off the hands of Amos. Voss down there with strength in the fend. Swings it in. Frederick caught behind. McGrath could have got a free. No whistle. Bombers can steady and they'll go in short. And now Parrish with some run. And dash to Roberts, who shows the same. Guelphy can try and feed it back. And you have Gresham waiting out wide. Can they generate the inside 50? They've broken through well with some run.
I'm just taking a breath. It has been helter-skelter. There's been hardly a stoppage.
Well, it's 30 marks to 7. Handballs to 7, sorry. So it's handball happy. Sometimes that happens with pressure.
And he wants it long in the square. Kako sends it in. There's a little push on Guelph. He spills out the back. Merritt, dangerous. Parrish swoops on it, but couldn't connect properly off the left boot. And it goes just in for a behind.
Yeah, they're flicking the ball around, so inviting the pressure from the Dockers, but right now Essendon are right up for that challenge. Yes, a couple of turnovers, but in areas where they're able to mop it up and then still get the ball forward.
Bombers won the last match up between these two sides. Dangerous ball here for Ryan. Punched down Clark. Able to get it back and make amends. And then Draper with a long kick out to half back. It's off the hands of O'Driscoll. It was round 21 last year at the MCG. And the Bombers were 25 points down in the final quarter before being able to get back, and Sam Durham scoring a point. Just 36 seconds left to get the victory there, and from that point, Fremantle's season went askew, and they ended up missing the finals. They've set themselves up here after a poor start to the year, but looking for 5 wins in a row and really trying to lock in a spot in the 8.
Sign of intent so far. 27 handball receives to 8, so they're taking the game on early.
Jackson held position opposed to Wright. Parrish to Merritt. Expect those two to combine a fair bit. May in a wrestle. Arms were around, and the free kick will go Fremantle's way.
Yeah, they haven't got their hands on the ball at the moment, the Dockers. Essendon right on top in that area of the game.
Back for Warner. It'll be a good season. Flying under the radar, but getting it done defensively for the Dockers. Out to O'Driscoll. He'll chip it in short. Now Sharp.
They're protecting the corridor heavily. You can see all those red jumpers through there, so forcing Sharp to go back around.
It's already different than last week. They're a lot more direct, happy to go straight line, and
Freo this is,
yeah, that's Freo. They've gone in a bit more control, which early days yet, take what they give you, but last week they were very direct in their way they played.
There's nothing up the line for Wagner as he received. So had to wait for some players to roll across. He takes some ground off the player on the mark and drives it up. Jackson reaching over the top, Bolton at the spill. Byzantini, impressive in his first quarter of footy. Merritt away, Setterfield, turnover. Coughed up, Johnson. This is where Fremantle love to counter-attack. They break through Brayshaw and Chapman. The delivery for Amos. Blackiston, a great spoil and to take off. Charging off half-back was brilliant. And the Bombers hold firm. Out wide for Martin.
He's had a couple of moments, Blackiston. Very impressive.
Now for Wright. Good build-up here by Essendon. Wright's going to spin. Place it into the path of Caddy. Down low. Did he hold it inside the field? He did. And he'll go back to send it inside.
Yeah, wonderful play from defence, wasn't it? Amos actually had front position for a while, and then Blackiston said, nah, I'm going to motor past you and get in front.
Caddy will drive it to the square. Peter Wright down there. Jackson too helping out. Split back to him. Fremantle can clear through Sarong. Clark off front position. Sharp the spoil. Spills to the deck. Taken by McGrath and then Caddy. Bombers go back in for Wright.
It's a bit of an in-out in play. So the ball goes in from Caddy. There's a decent contest. There's enough pressure on the ball. And then because you're able to set up behind the footy, they're able to get this straight back in. It's a wonderful kick to Peter Wright. Nice lead, but terrific delivery from Caddy.
It's a good set shot. Tough kick from here, though. Deep in that right forward pocket. He kicked 6 in his last match here against West Coast back in round 6. On his return this season, that's from a tight angle, and he slices it straight through. Dream start for the Bombers in the West.
Well, it all started from their D50, and the defence, the kick was pretty good to Amos, and the defence from Blackstone, it starts from here with his proactive body spoil, follow up, use their hands. Have been doing that in the back half, and then eventually they get their in-out-in play, but to get down there, you've got to win those contests. So great start. They come with this real positivity with what comes with youth and nothing to lose attitude, and it's been the perfect start for Brad and his boys.
Peter Wright with his 19th goal of the season in his 10th game. And he loved it. Sending it straight through. Just the start Essendon were looking for. Up for the contest. And taking it up to the home team. Jackson in the middle. Setterfield and Sarong battle. Sarong socketed it, but kicking in danger the call. Caudle was going in for the footy.
It's the second time Sarong's thrown. He's booted it when a set of hands were down low.
Caudle ran himself into some trouble. Feed it back to McGrath. Got around Frederick. Cross now to Johnson. Found it plenty of it last week. Kick inside 50. Chapman. A nice intercept.
This happened a bit last week. The Fremantle defenders have to really hold up while there's a bit of an onslaught. There's a turnover there again.
And full kick from Banfield. Johnson wins it back.
Yeah, their pressure's a bit off as well. They're just a step or two off at the moment, the Dockers. They're not sticking their tackles.
Way now to Pryor. They've got some room to just chip the footy around and build towards the 50. Martin. Here's a long kick. He'll send it down deep, looking for Ryan again out the back. May. Wrapped up by Banfield. Dersma. He couldn't get his boot to it. Little soccer back through. Ryan. Johnson. And out of defence, Chapman. And great smother. You can see the intent, the intensity from Essendon. Well done by Guelphy.
I wonder if this was a free kick. Maybe something in it, maybe not. Chapman got that one. But Essendon have come to play. Have a look at this. Brilliant. Keeping in front half. Get another stoppage. Chance to score.
Jackson uncontested in the ruck in the end. Rock kind of had his run blocked out at a touch. Just got mixed up with some players, and it's going to be a stoppage.
Parrish up to 7. Goldwell up to 7 as well. Midfield's actually on top over the
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Dominant display at the moment.
Jackson won it down. Umpire took a tumble. Jackson after it again. Shoveled it across to Reed. With some time across the defensive 50. The 1-2 with Banfield. Kick out towards Sharp, who drops the mark. Otherwise, he was away. He can still feed it inside to Erasmus. Back to Sharp. A handball over the top, working the numbers. Brayshaw to Reed. Look away handball. Back to Erasmus. The chip into the pocket, just out of the outstretched arms of Bolton.
Wonderful transition from the Dockers. Just couldn't quite get the ball in the right person's hands. That Fife spending a bit of time in the bench after starting forward. It's going to be interesting watch to see how much midfield time he actually gets tonight.
First full game of the season for that Fife sub in the last 2. Voss tried to use his strength down there. Loves tackled. Got a ball up.
So now it's Fremantle's turn. Simo to build a bit of pressure, create some repeat stoppages. They did this well last week against North Melbourne late in the game.
Bolton at the stoppage, extracted it, and snapped cleanly. The X factor of Shea Bolton around the stoppages.
Yeah, so you let your talent get to work in your forward half, and it's come off the back of, firstly, strong defence, because they've been really up against it at the early part of this game. The Dockers, the Bombers, right on top, but here's your talent getting to work. Jackson Pride just turns his back for a moment. That's just a crucial error in a crucial part of the ground in terms of playing on someone who just wraps around the contest there. A nice little block, and I mean, this guy can do anything inside 50 when he wants to.
Well, they would have scouted that too. Giving his right foot, knowing there's a wraparound opportunity there. So probably reflect on that play, but they did this last week, Fremantle. They rebounded from back half really well. They want to rely on their midfield, not their back half.
Yep.
Their back half will hold up as well as they can. They want to get their midfield going.
18th goal of the season for Shea Bolton. Sniper player, Fremantle desperate to get into the club and make that difference, and Hobbs is taken high in the middle. Entertaining first quarter, pretty open footy as Setterfield sends it in. Clark dropped the mark, Bombers a chance. Kako, Lual looking for the footy, finding it back to Martin and then into the pocket. Wanted May over his head, and the ball will roll back. Ryan will clear it out of defence. Amos has to work ever so hard to get to that footy and release with the mark.
And that's better from Amos. He was caught just waiting a half a step, and his opponent charged it previously. That's better for the key forward.
Up the line, Reed punched it on. McGrath beat Brayshaw to it. And now Setterfield. Lual with some space. Grass in front and time to run and carry. Looks inboard and he straightens up. The kick was a poor one though. He's just undecided as to which way he was going to go, and he coughed it up to Clark.
They were collapsing it back a little bit there, the Dockers. They weren't pressing, but in the end there was enough pressure on the ball so they could turn it over. Ooh.
Rasmus's kick just finds Sarong. Flirted with an intercept for a second as Johnson. Not a lot of movement further afield. He just waits and then cruises back inside. Gains a couple of extra metres to launch it long and high. Crutch went the pack. Pryor was good. He bumped into his teammate right, though. Was a little sore. Hobbs goes out wide and May leading up. Playing in the waffle for Subiaco just a few weeks ago over here in WA. Now got it to Caddy.
Just have to hold this one up, Caddy, because Luke Ryan is free behind the plate, just waiting to equalise.
Sends it in. It's great placement for Kako.
What a kick. What a kick. There's a couple of beauties, isn't it, from Caddy, just one to Peter up. And then have a look at this. So there's Luke Ryan. The only place, let's take a look at that. The only place anyone was going to take a mark is exactly where he kicked it. Just brilliant skills.
Difficult team to play against Essendon when they're doing this. They're taking the game on, they're using their hands. In Fremantle box, we're talking about what do we do here? Do we take it on head-to-head or do we settle it down a little bit?
Terrific setup. 7 goals for the season for Isaac Kako, but only 1 in his last 5 games, which he kicked last week against the Cats. They'll need to make the most of every opportunity tonight, and they have started brilliantly.
Well, the skill level is just at a level times where you can't defend some of these kicks. So the first one to May on the wing was a beauty. Josh Draper just dropped off and didn't allow way too much space on that occasion. And then Matt Johnson could have got caught in between. Do I press up or do I try to go to the runner? But look at this. There's Luke Ryan all by himself in the line of the ball. Caddy decides to play and he says, okay, I'm going to kick this ball back inside. And that level of skill is at such a high level.
Let's be honest, Kako didn't know it was coming.
No, correct.
It was, well, put it here and you'll get there,
Yeah.
which it's very hard to teach that skill, but to beat Fremantle's defence, you have to do that. You have to change angles, don't kick straight down the line.
One of those young bombers with plenty of talent to burn. 19 years of age. Just his 14th game. Out of the middle. Now Fremantle looking for a response. Erasmus set up Wagner, who ran straight into a couple of tacklers, and he's gone. And quickly, the intent again from Essendon, up to the 50 for Gresham.
This is brilliant from the Bombers. Their contested work is outstanding. Concerns for Justin Longmuir at the moment.
Slow start for Fremantle. It had been a focused pre-game that they wanted to bring that intensity to start, but Essendon have set the standard in this first quarter again. Skill and pockets of space opening up. The correct kick executed, and Caldwell will go back for a set shot.
Another great kick set up and sloppy defence.
But the midfield hasn't turned up yet, Pat. I mean, some of the players we've seen, and traditionally Fremantle rely on clearance, positioning, get their field positioning from there, and tonight so far they've been half a step behind, and excellent start from Essendon.
Disposal number 9 for John Caldwell. And 28 last week. Racked up a heap of the footy. He's having a career best year in terms of those disposal numbers, but that really would have just helped them kick away in this first quarter.
It would have, but regardless, they're right on here, the Bombers, and Fremantle have to respond. Andy Brayshaw spoke to us pre-game talking about their pressure and their contest. Well,
shocking kick from Warner. Coughs it straight up to Caldwell. They go back inside 50, but just as we were celebrating the high skill level through the early part of this quarter, a couple of dodgy old kicks there. It's back with the Dockers and Wagner.
just getting smashed around the ball. Ground ball, clearance, contested possession, tackles. Effective ones at least, right in favour of the Bombers.
Long kick in the Jackson direction. Vizentini did well to spoil. And a free kick given away.
It looks a bit more attitude as well. Yep, it's nothing to lose team versus a team that's expected to win.
Sharp for Reid.
Early days yet though, the game hasn't really settled.
Reid's going to hit it in towards Tracy, who attacked it, but out the back. Voss was waiting, but a push will come back to Tracy, who will take the set shot instead of Voss.
He was reluctant to give that ball back. So, we'll see.
It was a good strong lead. There was a definite push there from Laverde. Voss just trailing behind, which is often a good smart play anyway, in behind your key forward, just in case it goes over the back. But strong lead from Tracy.
Didn't kick a goal last week. Still got 4 coaches' votes, Josh Tracy. Hasn't kicked a goal in his last 3 games. Just 2 behinds last week. And a little out of form in front of the big sticks. He would love one here, and he converts.
Well, this will be the sign for Fremantle tonight. It looks like Essendon are going to really, you're going to have to take the game off them rather than the opposite. So the maturity of the group, we've been in contests the last 4 weeks, been a bit wetter than what we've seen tonight. They're an older side, they're more mature, so can they take these punches early and then settle the game down and get it on their terms? So obviously they come from a free kick down the field, another free kick inside 50, but the last 3 weeks, as you can see there, Tracy on the weekend. So their forward line's got some power, their back line's got some power, their midfield is really where they need to start things going.
Start of the season on fire, Josh Tracy. Goals harder to come by in recent weeks, but he certainly will enjoy that one. And it's back to 1 point the difference. Big start by Essendon. The Fremantle will challenge as out of the middle. Sarong left it behind. Bombers clear it towards Guelphy, but he's wrapped up.
He's been a bit off, Caleb Sarong, to start this one. Had 4 disposals, but been a step off a couple of times already.
Knocked down. Quickly kicked forward by Sarong. Roberts did well to beat Bolton to it, and releases now to Parrish. Kick towards the 50. Ryan read it quickest off the boot. They've got a free kick, but it's taken the mark anyway.
He started well, Luke Ryan. He's been important, just getting in the right positions, because they've had to defend a lot this quarter.
And Brayshaw drive it up towards Tracy. The help came from Pryor. Punched it away though. Sharp had a fumble. Zantini trying to fin. Spills to Tracy. Now for Reid. Clever kick outside of the boot. He is so crafty, Murphy Reid, and finds Jackson.
He's had a couple of opportunities, Luke Jackson, where he has snuck forward on Zantini. The kick for Murphy Reid, though, just brilliant. We've seen the Bombers execute beautifully inside their 450. Well, this one's just as good. Outside of the boot. Jackson in the right spot.
Luke Jackson doing predominantly the ruck work tonight for Fremantle. He kicked 21 goals last year. He spent a lot more time as a forward. He certainly knows where they are. He kicked a match winner last week, and he's good one in the first quarter to give the Dockers the lead.
Well, does he want to ruck on his own, or does he want a teammate with him? Because, to be honest, I think he plays well in both ways. And I don't think winning and losing is about playing the 2 rucks. I think this guy's a legitimate A-grade player that can handle both. And you see his goal-kicking record of recent times. He knows how to celebrate too, as all the forwards do at Fremantle. So his form's been good. The last month he's part of the resurgence that the club's gone through. And it seems this young Essendon team don't handle the turnover as well as they possibly could. Finding a man off turnovers is actually a difficult thing for a young side. So 6th-rated player in the last 6 weeks. Excellent work from Jackson. He's definitely part of the solution.
Having a big season. Sean Darcy managed out of this one tonight. Luke Jackson having an impact. Trying to push forward when he can, you'd think. In the middle, Zantini with a good lead. On to knock it down. Driscoll in there with Parrish. Jackson to follow again. That's where he's so valuable. He becomes another midfielder up around the footy, getting involved and getting it forward. Brayshaw on the boot was slung to the turf. Spills up. Bolton attacked it. Fended off Guelphy. Got it clear to Banfield. Back for Bolton. Off the left boot for Voss. Bang! Big crunch. Johnson got back in the road. The 2 Dockers are sore. And Gresham tackles. Holding the ball, the call. Johnson still slow to get back to his feet. He was so exposed as he went back to win the footy.
That Voss needed to call him back in here. That's a big hit. Let's hope he's okay, Matt Johnson. He's up and moving again, but the key forward needs to support his player coming back with a flight there.
Just knocked the wind out of him. Matt Johnson back up and about. Voss there wrestling with Pryor. little undersized, the Bombers' defence, given how many injuries they've got in that area of the field.
Tracy's on.
Kick the lead. Tracy nudged under it well by Laverty. Voss busting his way out with a fend as well to Brayshaw off a step. Wayward. Good to see Matt Johnson okay. After copying that knock, Fremantle certainly controlling the footy a lot more in the last 10 minutes. Call to play on. Go up the line. Off the hands of Brendan Cox. Ryan, Lorna, Sarong. Happy to handball their way through some trouble. Banfield had to hit the kick and found O'Driscoll. Open forward line again. He goes wide. He wants Voss. And two to beat. Dersman got back to help. Laverty there, and Dersman will get a free kick.
Yeah, another right kick there from Nathan O'Driscoll. He either had to pull the trigger early to Voss or then change his mind and change the angle and get to a 12-1 at the end.
First quarter is raced by quickly. Goes to the wing, Gresham out the back, read it the best and responded the quickest. Open forward line, right demanding the footy, but the kick was shallow. And Warner chomps back in to take the intercept. And he wants to go aggressively. They think corridor again. Brayshaw from centre half back will go wider to the wing. Sharps drifted across to the near side. Tracy works hard. Pretty open forward line again. Fife wanted it short.
Got a couple back here. The Bombers have been able to slide back. Tracy's just going to put it on their head.
Kick off the side of the boot. Didn't go in the direction of Voss. Bumped off it. Laverty didn't take the mark. Bombers, McGrath. Get it back from Roberts. They're under the pump here, Essendon. Kick was good enough to find Clark, although it wasn't the 15. So they continue to go. Caddy committed himself. Almost a collision there. Wright continues to roll forward. He hasn't got anything really up the ground. He can't find the footy. Draper's there. Tackled. Lost it. Boundary line wins. And we'll get a boundary throw-in.
Probably the best result. They're getting really high now. Only a minute or two to go. Essendon forward line's emptied right out to support defence, and there's nothing to kick to in front of the play.
Beautiful night for footy. Optus Stadium lit up. It's Jackson down. Zantini. Dersma. Warner set up again just in front of Wright, who did well to bring the ball to ground. Banfield. Can the Bombers pinch a late one? Fremantle control it. Switch it up through Ryan out to Sharp.
It's a modern-day defender, Ryan, just happily waiting back there for any type of rush kick. You've got to have pressure up the ground to get free like that, and he does it so well.
Now, a lot of the ball in the first turn went Ryan, 10 disposals. And Driscoll's had a bit of it as well in his first game back up to 7.
And Chapman with just the seconds expiring and the bench telling him how long there is till quarter time. One last chance at it. Jackson there. Zantini knocked it down. And the Bombers will clear it. First quarter is in the book. And it was a hot start by Essendon. And Fremantle just settled into their work and responded accordingly in the second part of that opening quarter. At the first change, they lead it by 6 points. Thursday night footy from Optus Stadium tomorrow night. It's a huge occasion. Patrick Dangerfield, been a star of the competition for so long. Game number 350 tomorrow night in a blockbuster clash as well, up against the Brisbane Lions. That will be must watch. He's been a premiership hero and he celebrates game 350.
You're watching Thursday Night Footy on Fox.
All right, there we go. Quarter time. Can you believe it? What a game so far. Game board shouty. Welcome on in, of course, Tina, the famous one. B3. How you doing, Squire? Beaming Drive said, g'day. I think he's another Freo supporter, of course, with Adrian. He wants the live ladder. Yo, Ryan, what's happening, Squire? I tell you what, just for Adrian, let's go to the live ladder before we hit some of the stats. There's the live ladder for all the Fremantle supporters. If you do happen to win this game, you'll be up in the 6th spot. There we go, the 6th spot, equal points with Adelaide on 4th position with Hawthorn. Can you believe it? That percentage, though, is still low for the Dockers. They need to just keep on winning. As I said before, if Essendon lose this game tonight, it's probably pretty much lights out for their season. I tell you what, a fantastic opening quarter where it's been just a frenetic paced game. Frenetic paced game here. Tell you what, the Bombers got out of the gates super fast. I tell you what, it was... well, the first half of the first quarter was a mirror image of the second half of the first quarter. Geez, I hope that makes sense. It was the Bombers in full control of halfway through that opening term. I think the Dockers were doing good to hang in there, but then it switched around. Fremantle took control of this game. Momentum swung both ways, and we've got a fantastic game on our hands tonight over there at Optus Stadium in Perth. 3-2-20. The Dockers leading the Bombers 2-2-14. One straight kick. Let's have a look at the goal scorers. All right, the goal scorers so far for the Bombers: Peter Wright, Isaac Kako. There we go, 2 goals for the Bombers. For the Dockers, Josh Tracy finally bobs up with a goal after about 3 weeks. He's got a single with Luke Jackson, and of course, Shai Bolton, who kick-started the Fremantle run. Tell you what, I think he's in for a game tonight, Eddie G. Shai Bolton, he looks on song tonight. There we go. I tell you what, it's going to be a fascinating second term here. Who's going to get the run? I tell you what, there looks to be plenty of space and run out there for both sides tonight. It's nice, not overly jammed with players. A bit of free-flowing play. We love to see that. Look, it's just good play all around. But Andy McGrath there for the Bombers, topping the table with 11 disposals, 2 kicks, 9 handballs. He's had plenty of ball in the opening quarter. Jai Caldwell for the Bombers on 10. Luke Ryan, the best for Freo. Ella Rose, how you going? Yeah, Bolt's looking good. He's looking really good. He's looking sharp. Nice sweep around that ball up. Snap on his right through the goals, and that got the Dockers off and running. Darcy Parish on 9-3 of the top 4 Bombers disposal getters. Caleb Sarong, not a bad opening term, 8 disposals. He's had 6 kicks and a clearance. Let's just roll down a little bit. Andy Brayshaw, of course, you want the big guns for the Dockers firing so they can do their best. He had 7 so far. There we go. Let's just quickly roll down. I want to have a look and see where the old champ is, if I can find him down there somewhere. Shai Bolton, 5 disposals, 1 goal, 1 off his 3 kicks, 2 clearances. So he's doing pretty well so far. There we go. I can't find... There he is, Nat 5. I just wanted to see, because he started the game down forward. Going to play a full game tonight. Just the 1 disposal, 1 handball, 1 tackle for the superstar Nat 5. I tell you what, we're going to love to see him back in the game, back in action. Let me just have a look. There we go. All right, I think we're back to the second quarter. Let's head back down to the ground. Or are they still on commentators? My gosh. No, I think they're still... No, we're still a minute away. Wait, let's have a quick glance then at some of the team stats. What do you reckon? Just have a little bit of a look. Of course, it sort of evened out in the last 5-10 minutes of that game, 99-105. It's only +6 on the disposal count. Tell you what, they said the Bombers were handballing a lot, and they certainly did look like that. Plus 17 to the Bombers. They're inside 50s, both good numbers, 12 apiece. Fantastic to see. Both efficiency. I tell you what, it looks like a beautiful, beautiful evening over there for football, ADG over there. Your neck of the woods over there in Perth at Optus Stadium. 79% efficiency for both teams. That's fantastic. Free kicks, 4 apiece. There we go. I think the umpires so far doing their job well. 12-4. Dockers dominating in the hitouts. Bombers are +3 in the centre. And the clearances, stoppage clearances, all tied up at 3 apiece. Contested. There we go. She's a pretty contested game by both teams. So that's pretty good. Uncontested. Essendon did have control, as I said, a lot, first part of that opening quarter. So they got the +10 there. Turnovers, 15-18 for there we go. The marks inside 50. As I said, Bombers finding the space a little bit better. Dockers are going to work on that 4-1. All right, that's enough of me chit-chatting. Hey, thanks everyone for coming in. Fife needs goals these days. not a dominant bulger like Brayshaw. No, that's exactly right. And I think he started down forward. I tell you what, I'd love to see Nat Fyfe have a fantastic game. He's a star. He's one of those great players. All right, let's head back down to the action where it's the Dockers by 6 points.
That first turn for the Dockers.
Second quarter to get underway. Thursday night footy from Optus Stadium. Fremantle and Essendon. Good reach from both rucks in the middle, but it spills to Sarong, who drives the footy up inside 50. Test of strength, fast, dropped the mark. He did all the hard work. It still spills to Tracy, who found some room. Back to Jackson on the follow. Loves a goal, and he nails it from distance. He can do it all.
Oh, what a player. What an absolute player, because his follow-up work is outstanding. But all the players, Fremantle-wise, you can see they went across to Josh Tracy, because not only did he beeline the ball and drew a crowd, he was able to then decide where the right handle was to go here. You watch, the Verdi's right with him, and then he just goes, okay, give me the ball, I'm going to take a step and find the right hand pass. And the follow-up work from the big ruckman, and not many players can do that at 199 centimetres.
The problem when you're such a dominant ruck, so like Max gone, what do you do? What's plan B when our ruck is dominating in the air and on the ground? It comes from a centre-bounce clearance, and I must admit the forward line craft of the Fremantle Tools is amongst the best in the competition. Their craft in the air to get body positioning, and the craft when the ball hits the ground is very, very clean.
Luke Jackson with 2 goals, and that's the difference in the game. 12 points the margin as he chases after this one again. Delightful hit out to the advantage of Brayshaw, who was tackled and coughed it up to Merritt. Now Caldwell, Essendon have to find a response as they send it inside 50, right at the stretch. That's where he can be so dangerous with his height inside 50, and we'll go back for a long set shot.
Yeah, great kick, strong hands as well from Peter Wright. That's their 5th centre-bounce clearance to Fremantle's 2, so they're right on top in that area of the ground. I know we talk about Jackson and how important he is, but that's a good kick. It's a good, strong pair of mitts as well.
Essendon's tall. His ability to win his own hit-outs, that's going to be the only strength he's going to have over Jackson.
He's kicked 19 goals in each of his last 2 years, Peter Wright. He's got 19 already this season. Just couldn't add to his tally there.
Yeah, normally a very reliable set shot at goal. We saw that beauty that he kicked in the first term.
Those sorts of moments you think Essendon need to make the most of, because Fremantle are out to half-back here. Some hard run by Clark. We'll see them escape out of the defensive 50 with ease.
I think we both saw it, Pat, the set play of Fremantle's kick-ins, which is frustrating as a coach.
Easy to see up here.
A little. What did you spot?
It's the 50th time I've seen it.
What did you spot?
Well, it's a key defender stands at the junction, and hopefully you match up against the smaller size wingman, and then you just kick to the isolation, and more often than not you have a marking defender, and then you run off the back of it.
Jordan Clark was going the other way, so they did well in the end, the Bombers, to get it to where they have out of bounds, but it was slick from the Dockers.
Jackson down the throat of Johnson. Rode the tacklers, got it forward to Sarong. An advantage will be taken by Fremantle. It just held Sarong up for a second, and so he just let it fly from the boundary line. Caleb Sarong.
What a star he is, Caleb Sarong. Had a pretty quiet first term, and it was just a little bit off in the way he was attacking some of the clearances, but that is the skill he possesses. They already come out the front of their stoppage, and Johnson got the extra free, and then Caleb said, I'll just keep running, I'll walk into 50, and what a wonderful finish that is.
And unfortunately for the young ruckman for the Bombers, Vicentini, he's going to have a long one. He's going to need some help with the right. I don't think he can ruck the whole quarter, or 90% of the whole quarter, when someone like Jackson's doing what he can do. So it's more about Fremantle at the moment. This hit out here, good connection, good movement, and you don't want to get beaten out the front because it puts your backs under too much pressure, but you didn't need the backs or the forwards when you come out the front like that.
He made the angle tougher there, Sarong, as he ran towards the boundary line.
He loved it as well. Look at him. Caleb Sarong, start.
Huge goal, and out of the middle, the basketball skills of Luke Jackson just still buried in the memory bank as he gets it forward. Tracy, Fyfe with a fumble, lost it. Bombers can win it back. Caldwell. A break off half-back through Hobbs. Wanted to find Clark. Jackson in there again, just controlling the footy. O'Driscoll knocked it out, and then it spills up to Caddy, who couldn't quite take it down low. Fremantle quickest to recover. Chapman. And now Fife. Fremantle really taking the game on now. Got a couple in the early stages of this second quarter.
They've done pretty well here, the Bombers. You can see down the line there's some one-on-ones, but there's no overlap play, so you can see Clark looking to go back through the middle on the 45 like he has.
To Brian.
Probably the game the Bombers want, an open game, open transition, turnover to turnover. The last thing they want at the moment is stoppages.
Clark now for Chapman. To half forward. Pakistan in front. Amos into a wrestle. At feet. Amos able to get it up to Jackson. Couldn't find a third, could he? Away instead to Fife. Fed the handball forward for Frederick. Good take down low. And then his head was just about taken off.
Every now and then you drop your knees, and every now and then you just get coat hanger. Not as much of a knee drop from that one.
It's just high. He was going to him. He didn't touch the knees, but he went to him.
It's, unfortunately, that's a skill that perhaps don't train, but you're aware of to get those free kicks. Definitely there, though.
I thought Fife might have had a shot. He really kicks these days, Nathan Fife, but he decided a hand pass, and the balls ended up with Frederick.
Michael Frederick, 17 for the season. He's averaged a goal a game across the last 4 years. And he adds to the Bombers' pain right here. Fremantle bursting out of the blocks in the second quarter.
Well, there's some decisions to be made in the Essendon box at the moment. Last week was a disappointing result, 90-plus point defeat. And if they're not careful, it's going to head to a blow pretty quickly. So do you activate anything in terms of an extra ball on the play, slow the play down, or do you just continue to try and instill a system that's going to stand up when all the players come back? As we see, that free kick's obviously there, and the leaders of Essendon now really need to stand up. It took the leaders from Fremantle to take the game away from them, so the next 10 minutes are going to be critical to what we see for the rest of the night.
Frustrations from Brad Scott. Frederick from straight in front popped it through. The margin out to 23. Back into the middle we go. Jackson has been dominant. Visentini got a good hit out on it that time. Down to Parrish, to Merritt. Feeds it back to the ruckman. Visentini with a disposal. Johnson crashing through. Fremantle's pressure arrives. Read the look-away handball again. Banfield wide to the wing. Bouncing footy away from Tracy.
So they've owned the ball on the outside this quarter, the Dockers. They've had a lot of uncontested possessions. They haven't really smashed the Bombers around the ball, and that's probably the silver lining here. Clearance-wise, 4-1 this quarter for Freo, but just keep backing yourself in like you did in that first quarter on the tide they turn.
Free kick at the stoppage. Visentini will take it. His 8th disposal coming up.
Battling well.
Kick goes up the line. Jackson's been so good at the hit-outs and getting forward, and has obviously kicked a couple, but Visentini competing. And spectators young and old in on a Thursday night watching on the footy.
A decent crowd here at Optus Stadium. I've seen plenty of numbers through this beautiful stadium here in Perth the last week or so with so much action.
Jackson down, clearance to Wrong. Free kick to Sarong, come back to half-back for Fremantle.
Okay, so clearance is just starting to get, in this quarter at least, out of control for the Bombers, only 5 minutes into it.
He's averaged 32 disposals across his last 4 games. And 8 clearances, Caleb Sarong. Did a great patch of form through the middle part of the season.
Got extra 2 players behind the ball here, so that's why Matthew Johnson's having to switch this ball. And
Sarong, aggressive kick of Bullock into Clark. They've certainly been aggressive and taking a few risks as they go forward. Ryan wants Tracy crunched in out the back. Reed just floated in, drifted in, and snapped with ease. He's so composed, Murphy Reed, for a player in his first year. The Dockers making their move, their scarves are waving, the fans are up and about. That's a classy goal from a young player.
Oh, there's not many positives. Not the last 5 minutes. It's all been about Fremantle and
What about this kick?
yeah, you can't stop those kicks, but you do those when you're up and you're confident. And he's just kicked a great goal from the pocket 5 minutes ago, and they're
Important lead here from Josh Tracy. He drew, what's that, 1, 2, 3 really, and allowed. Yes, it went over the back. Sometimes that's where your numbers are going to be. Tracy lead, where you're drawing 2 or 3, that presence that he plays with, so important for this Dockers forward line. Look at that, he's got 2 hanging off him. Reed sitting down the back saying, thank you very much, big boy. I'll do the rest.
Well, Reed just seems to be one of those players that just appears to have more time than anyone else out there, which is a pretty good attribute to have.
Not bad in your first year.
He looks so comfortable out there. Ever since his debut, 4 goals, 2 are behind in this second term. The margin out to 29 in very quick succession. Dockers putting the foot down. Jackson controlling it to Sarong. Bombers win it back, but the tackle lingered on Sarong.
didn't need to do that. Got onto the football.
Run and carry from Warner. Drives it wide. Frederick. Johnson with a good spoil. Didn't give away the free kick, and it finds it out.
Great spoil.
Yeah, the one thing that is happening from a Fremantle point of view, they're running with Merritt, which is difficult because he starts in all these different positions. So you've got Wagner there. He's only had a couple of possessions, but he's kept Merritt to 7 so far through the second quarter. He hasn't really done much.
He's played that role in a number of games this season. Corey Wagner spoke during the week about just how grateful he is for the opportunity the Dockers have given him. Johnson inside 50. It's just knocked away, but a chop of the arms on Clark.
Yeah, so Clark is the extra that's sitting behind the play now, the +1, the traditional +1 that looks like they've activated.
Going to try and take them on, and he just was able to escape. Jackson in best position.
The problem is, you play a +1, you're probably going to get the game played in your defensive half. And he's had to make a move. You don't want the same situation as last week, so they've tried to settle things down a little bit, make it a little bit harder to score.
12th disposal for Jackson. Got it to Wagner. High kick in. Tracy Crutch hit the pack again. Almost created another opportunity for Reed, who lays a tackle, and it'll stay inside 50 for Freo.
If this plays out the way Fremantle should execute from a coaching point of view, it's now about locking the ball in your front half. It's going to get a bit messy, in-out plays, death by 1,000 cuts, but the game should be played in their half.
Yeah, the Dockers watching on. Michael Walters, one of those. Might hopefully see him return to footy in the coming weeks as Warner takes a nice mark.
It's been important, Warner, not only tonight but across this 6-week block of form where Freo have started to got moving. He's really fit well across that half-back line.
So as you were speaking about, that footy goes back inside 50. Visitini gets back to help.
This is where you've got to control the ball a little bit. Perhaps you're one down in front of the play now. You've got to let the game catch up.
He goes long out to one-on-one. Ryan, so good in that situation. Had a fair piece of it, but was knocked out of the hands by May. Freo fans weren't happy with it. Ryan got back involved again. Caddy, Parrish. Across now to Dersma. And now May.
Here's what you talk about, Sino. You need to equalise now.
Take your time.
Long ball up towards the 50. Caddy, good mark.
He really, Caddy should just take his full 30, take a deep breath. He's probably got the distance. There's nothing more frustrating than this hitting the goal line, but I think where the game's at and what's needed just to take the sting out of things a little bit, he should have a shot.
He's a dangerous Caddy at times, and he's certainly got the distance.
Hasn't kicked a goal in his last couple of games since he snapped that one over his head against the Lions, which was such a brilliant goal. That one off the instep, though, will land in short. Dockers with the numbers, and they'll rush it through.
That's cool.
Famous last words.
Exactly what you don't want to have happen if you're a bomber.
The inside 50s now, it's 20 to 15, so it's starting to creep up, and just getting that field position, though, that's what Brad would have wanted. Try and lock the ball in the front half now.
So now they have equalised. They don't look as though at this point in time they've got an extra number behind it. Also, just might be from stoppages between the arcs.
Clark, danger. Lyle read it so well. Kako away. Parrish, they need a goal. Across the face, it's right on the line. The free kick will be paid. All the mark. It'll be taken by May.
Presented well, didn't he? May got himself in the right position, and a strong pair of hands as a mark or a free kick.
Of course, close links to Dermot Brereton. His partner son, Archibald, out there. Second game was playing in the Waffle just a couple of weeks ago. Picked up in the mid-season draft, looking for his first. And the Archer is on target for his first goal in the AFL.
We'll give it to him, but it looked like it went over the goalpost.
Well, he's celebrating it.
Absolutely.
Just snuck it in.
Congratulations, man. We'll have a look at the celebrations. The players were all over to him. He'll never forget that moment. This is how it came. It came from a really great turnover from the Bombers. And have a look at this pair of hands. It was a free kick. It was a mark, take your pick. They're smart, heads-up play, staying alive in defence. And then a nice finish.
Oh, great finish against a quality player, but it probably just shows you just change the mode of the game a little bit. Don't go the chaotic handball receives. They took their time, got their entry, defended behind it well. We are going to see some mistakes today. We're going to see some exciting younger players from Essendon as well. Look at the celebration.
Yeah, wonderful saying. Congratulations.
Parents, Julie and Joe will be excited about that one. Derm will be pretty thrilled.
Awesome.
And Archibald very pumped up with the first goal in his AFL career. And Wright took a tumble in the middle. The Dockers out of the centre. Amos up to meet it. Pakistan didn't able to get a handball away. Johnson to Roberts. McGrath just able to control it in the fingertips, but it turned him backwards. And he's got Laverty there in support. Out wide for Martin. Bounce to the footy. It's split between two Bombers, and well done by Warner to get across and attack it and see it out of play.
He was the only one that actually went for the ball. There was a number of players, both Fremantle and Essendon, waiting. Not sure who was about to go for it. And he just beelined the ball and made it his.
This is where we see Voss in the ruck now against Wright. This is a different role without Darcy in the side, and should be advantage Essendon.
Voss working his way to the front. Right, he's able to win it down. Merritt's handball. Rachel got a boot in there. Johnson, Clark saw the tackler coming last second, and then goes to the top of the 50. Johnson with a good punch away. The Dockers have an extra number. While trying to put the pressure on. Sharp and O'Driscoll worked it pretty well initially. Back to Sharp. High kick is a wide one into the pocket. Pitched right on the boundary line and stayed in play in the end before Pryor takes it over.
So it looks like the Bombers have also got a lot of numbers around the ball now. They've only really had 3 forwards ahead of that last stoppage here on centre wing, so trying to really suffocate that Fremantle midfield.
Jackson on the bench, Voss in the ruck, just took it and went himself. He dribbled it towards Cole and almost found it to the line.
I did say it should be right, should have the advantage, but the way Voss attacks that.
Voss prides himself on being the strongest player at Fremantle in the gym.
Of course,
Got some power.
It certainly does.
That's the pun he does.
So he likes to wrestle in those ruck contests. He did want to get to the front on that last one. Pryor with the footy. Out long. Voss backed into the pack and knocked it on to set over and out.
What he does do, though, he does the work. Yeah, and we spoke to JL before the game and spoke how much they work on their craft, how diligent they are. So not surprising they get rewarded on game day.
Garrett Bridge lit up purple tonight. It's had a few different colours over recent days with so many sporting events at this venue over the last week. Caldwell, then to Hobbs. Will the old kick forward. Ryan will be back there first. He's found a fair bit of it in this opening half. Draper will go too wide for Johnson and out of bounds on the full. So a chance here for Essendon to go inside 50. They'd love to get the margin under 20.
This will only be their 4th inside 50 for the term.
Chance for Merritt to find a target. Peter Wright is there. They had the mismatch. It went over their head though. Frederick back helping out. Spills to show. And then Ryan, as he so often is, that last player in defence. Out wide for Tracy. And knocked away well by Martin.
Wright's going to be stronger than that. You know, Clark outpositioned him. Leadership's really important as he sits behind the play, and we see Fife getting some attention. I think he's fine. It's the standard rotation. Hasn't really done a lot yet in his first full game back for the year.
May in the ruck opposed to Voss. Now Erasmus, cleverly able to get it out. Sarong, Warner, Banfield. He's found himself as a defender in recent weeks. Kick towards Frederick, couldn't hang on to it. Roberts spun right around, had it a while. Brayshaw looking to burst away from half-back. This is where the Dockers look so dangerous, when they run and carry. Went a long way, Brayshaw, and then found a target in O'Driscoll. Out wide to the wing, the hard run again from Sharp. Amos up the line, but the kick lets him down.
A couple of crucial errors. Sharp and Draper just spraying the ball out. Really enjoyed Brayshaw driving with the legs there. He could be almost afforded that first handball, but he took the game on, kept driving the legs as a midfielder and get out of trouble.
Done a pretty good job though, haven't they, Essendon, in the last 5 minutes? They kicked a goal, it's stopped momentum, had a couple of inside 50s, and it's probably over to Fremantle now. What are they going to do to counteract this slow type of play?
They're back on even keel now. An impressive fight back.
It looked like the Dockers are going to blow the game right open. Essendon a full back. May off hands.
And they still might, but the ability to stop momentum with a young side coming over here, it's actually part of their learning for the long term. As we see Fife come back on the ground, going into the midfield.
Right, against Jackson that time. Down, Caldwell, Dersma, pressured by Brayshaw, and they claim that it's out of bounds on the full of Setterfield. Archie Perkins watching on the sub tonight for the Bombers.
So clearance battle this quarter, 11-4. You can see there now. Gresham's up at the stoppage, Merritt's up at the stoppage, Hobbs is there. They're sending all there, just there on the right-hand side of the screen.
Taking the jumper there. It'll be a free kick to the Bombers. Jackson gave it away, and now Martin out into the path of Luau. O'Driscoll chasing, good turn, looks inboard. Across now to Martin. Took it well on the half volley, and he goes in for Merritt, who just knocked out of his hands by Wagner, who didn't give up on it at all, and he sends the ball along. Out to the wing. Voss has got about 4 or 5 to beat in the end, and the Bombers can mop it back up again. Great defensive effort by Wagner there to deny the Bombers the mark inside 50. Laverty.
Yeah, the work rate from Merritt to get there, but then the effort to spoil, brilliant.
Now Hobbs. May has to work hard up the wing. Ryan there for company. May, Martin. Get back involved again. Dersma run down by Clark and holding the ball. He thought he was clear, but Clark was hunting after him.
That's been his huge improvement this year. Defending first, we talked about it pre-game. So good with ball in hand, but defending like his life depends on it.
Just off the bench for Brennan Cox, and then Brayshaw up to Reid. Wants to wheel inboard. He was just held up as a player cruising past. Now Erasmus to Clark. Long ball. The skids were on from Voss. A little slippery out there. A lot of rain around. Last couple of days. Fife having to knock it down. Banfield back towards Fife. O'Driscoll, was that kicking in danger? Gresham going in. It's locked in underneath. I think dragged back in by the Bombers, so it'll be a ball up.
I think there are a few sore bogies amongst this Fremantle team, obviously coming off a 5-day break. Every player goes to the bench for a spell, seems to get a bit of work and treatment done.
Thanks, Kath. Keeping an eye on things at ground level as Erasmus has kicked and go straight to Dersma.
Yeah, so really only 3 forwards ahead of the play, but they're still looking to go quick, the Bombers.
Caldwell to Caddy.
Well, that's a mismatch there. That's an opportunity for Essendon.
And he's going to play on Caddy too. He's got some wheels for a run and a couple of bounces around the boundary. In long towards right, knocked down. Guelphy there. Knocked away by Chapman. Dockers defence. Merritt, Hassling. Luau, the soccer skills. He volleys at home. Some reward for effort there for Essendon.
That's great forward pressure from the Bombers. Caddy, you talked about the mismatch. I think he's too quick. Leading Draper and Mary dance up the field. He needs to be tighter. There's Josh Draper. Let's have a look here. Okay, fair enough to stand, but he had 3 or 4 metres on him and then just burned off him. He's looked really dangerous, Caddy, with ball in hand. And then the Dockers had this by well done by Chapman to bodyline it. Coxed a bit of a loose handball, and then last little tap there from Merritt. Good finish.
Don't think they're reviewing the play. Everyone's sort of the positions, but a really good performance from a young side. A bit of coaching, I would have thought, from Brad, just changing the course of the game they're playing a spare behind the play, and that frees up Ryan. But that last stoppage, it looked like Fremantle said, no, we're going to equalise the whole game. And we'll have 3-on-3 in our back half and 8-on-8 in our forward half. And it didn't quite work out that particular play.
The margin back to 17. Essendon with a good few minutes in this one. Caldwell able to work Bolton out of it. Isn't seen in there. Brayshaw tackled and held up.
Listen, Tony's responded as well. Yeah. Jackson
had a rest that might have been part of it.
But you're right. Perhaps
there's something there, isn't there? There's something there with his ruck craft in particular.
Said he'd certainly be a competitor out there. Look by handball from Reid. Driscoll worried out of it by Kako. Caldwell shoveled it forward. Hobbs getting involved. Now, high contact free will go the Bombers' way. They're making their own luck right now. They're forcing the issue. They're trying to drag themselves back into it.
This is what happened last week with Fremantle. They had a 5-goal burst. And for the rest of the game,
dangerous ball there. Just away from Voss. Langston trying to take it on. Pryor, they're being pushed backwards here though, Essendon. McGrath in trouble, wrapped up, holding the ball. They were just playing around with it for too long, and the pressure came.
So well defended from Fremantle up the ground, but the pressure from Voss initially and then Tracy, the two key forwards getting to work. Michael Frederick involved as well. That's better from the Dockers.
Josh Tracy putting the forward pressure on. Distance shouldn't be an issue for him. It's still a long kick though. He can thump his way into a set shot. It looked perfect off the boot from the Kahuna.
That's right, we'll look for effort because he's been the one charging at the ball a number of times from the goal squares. There's a little bit of push and shove before I'm one. Shea Bolton getting involved.
Getting some help from Voss going in.
it's the big party.
Against his former team. And reverting the crowd are getting into it. Players not separating themselves.
Certain players you want to wrestle, certain players you don't. I reckon Voss would be one you'd want to wrestle. He goes about it sometimes and pointing at the scoreboard, which is that what he's doing?
Interesting tactic. Stick Shea Bolton, I reckon. Shea, you just get away and then let Pat Frost take 3 or 4 of them.
I mean,
It took a little while for the help to arrive, but when it did, he had an impact. Ross.
There's a big boy.
Steadier off the boot of Josh Tracy. Just under 4 minutes to play in this second term. Wagner able to win the clearance away and straighten. And he'll set it back inside 50. Test of strength. Voss, Blackiston there. Knocked it down. Bolton. He was legged in the end, so he'll get the free kick to come back, and he'll be delighted with that after the push and shove, which continues. A smile on his face. He'll rub it in a touch, but he'll try and make impact on the score sheet.
he might get the last laugh, and Voss as well. We spoke about the craft of the forwards, and and Pat, you can talk about this, just before the impact.
Yeah, Pat Voss, just the body that you're talking about, just in the way,
After could have some core strength, obviously that was a free kick, but just before that, Voss just used his body for a split second in the marking contest. They got that advantage.
I was always told if you've got a big butt, you might as well use it. So Voss is doing that. There's plenty of byplay going on here.
He's had 20 plus disposals in 4 of his last 5 games, Shea Bolton. And has hit the scoreboard regularly this season. There's some push and some shove. There's a fair bit of chatter on there. But Shea Bolton is also letting his footy do the talking. They go at it again. Now Tracy and Martin stare each other down. Bolton in the thick of it.
Not a lot in it. Whoever's the tightest with their money's on the outside. Not looking for a fine.
And that five just coming in saying, okay, great work supporting your team, but let's worry about the ball from now on, which I think is the right advice.
Does he worry about his money?
Nathan? I think think he's okay.
I think he's okay. Mature though, they need to settle down, but seem to think that gets the Fremantle forward line going as much as it distracts them.
Jai Davis just ran onto the ground and told everyone to settle down, so that's obviously come from the bench.
Well, a couple of minutes to go, 3 minutes remaining till the half. The Dockers with a couple of quick ones. So sends that margin out again after the Bombers fight back. Byzantini goes again, sends it inside 50. Ryan tackled. Kako for the immediate response. But he blasts it well wide.
I'm pretty good out of the centre square bounce, the Bombers. Let's have a look what's been going on here. So the big Paddy Voss just throwing his weight around. Sure. Good luck, Nick Martin. And that Fife just comes in and says, okay, good work. You're throwing your weight around. Let's worry about the footy from now on, which is the right way to go about it.
Good leadership there from Matt Fife, getting across just to cool things down a touch. They've got the game and they're keeping as it stands, but McGrath's going to send it in. Caddy over the top. Nat Caddy with a huge lead.
It's a brilliant mark.
He's got some skills, this kid. Wow. You can see it from a mile away, and he just elevated beautifully over the top.
Is he 21? 20 years old? We're going to see that for the next 10 years, Pav.
19.
19?
Yes, 19. He's got the skill set to be a big-time player in the AFL. It was a big mark, and that is really a big goal for the Bombers to keep them in touch.
He's been an important player all night. Has Caddy. He delivered the ball inside 50 a couple of times beautifully in the first term and set up a couple of shots to go. And, well, we're just seeing a young player put his stamp on the game, emerge in front of us. Let's have a look. He loops out the back here on Chapman. Chapman decides to take the front position and then just, it's a beautiful run and jump of the ball. It's exactly what you want as you keep forward. You play assertive on you, the ball to be put on their head and just take a nice run and jump with the ball.
Here we go. Tremendous leap from Caddy. He's taking it over the top of the pack. And again, the margin back to 22 points. 6 at quarter time. Dockers have threatened to bust the game open a couple of times, but Essendon hanging around. Martin's kick smothered well by Brayshaw. Clark fed it forward. Jackson knocked away from him. Sarong after it. Byzantini getting involved again. And now Kako, he's kick smothered by Banfield. Kako back into it again. Banfield harasses him. And we got a ball on.
He's an important player, Bailey Banfield, to go back. It was brought up by Kako originally, but then just the second and third efforts from Bailey Banfield to stay involved. Well played.
Found himself playing back after an injury to Cooper Simpson a few weeks ago. We've got a holding the ball call here. Banfield's been playing a very important role in that Dockers defence. Parrish will take the free kick.
Just keeping an eye on Will Setterfield, who's heading into the change rooms just earlier than usual.
Thanks, Kath. I'll keep an eye on that. Important part of the Bombers midfield as Merritt goes in. Dersma! O'Driscoll couldn't get there. There's Setterfield. And it's Dersma with a chance to go back.
That's a really important kick. The Setterfield goes off as identified by Kath. And the Bombers have really been impressive this back half of the second term. If he can kick this, it'll give them some hope at half time.
Xavier Dersma chasing his 7th goal of the season, directly in front. The Bombers making a bit of a charge towards half-time and brings out the bow and arrow. He's on target as well. And the margin back under 20.
I mean, the way to get through this Fremantle defence is if you can change angles as quick as you can against the straight line defence. You see the top of the screen, Dersman, they're holding his width. Unfortunately, that's what wingers have to do, and Merritt sees that, changes an angle, disrupts the defence, and that's the best way to go against this Fremantle back six as a collective. They want you to go straight. So if you can change an angle like that,
it's a great kick for Merritt. It's a role playing from your winger, but it's a really impressive kick.
We saw it with Kay in the first quarter as well. You do have to change angles when you're entering Fremantle's defence.
Dersma with the goal. Critical one for Essendon. Back to 16 points. Certainly get a restart after that crocodile bounce. 35 seconds on the clock to half-time. Jackson in the ruck. Zantini just knocked it away. Parrish, Brayshaw, Hobbs, good tackle. Sarong just a dump kick forward. Gaining some territory, bouncing footy. Pry led Voss to it. Johnson gathered, crunched. What a tackle from the big ruckman on debut. He's hurt himself in the process. He put his body on the line for a goal-saving tackle.
Wonderful tackle. Huge effort from the big ruckman. He's really hurt himself though. I wonder if it's a collarbone, maybe jaw scenario. Let's hope he's okay, but gee, that was massive from your ruckman just before half-time.
A little dazed after that. It's a sub for the Bombers. They'll reflect on that at the half. What commitment.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And a way to inspire his teammates in your first game, going after the footy like that.
That happened about 50 metres away from us, and you could hear the crunch.
Family watching on. Tough one. Get the assessment at the half. Gets a warm applause from the crowd as he comes from the ground. Terrific effort. That inspire the Bombers to continue to fight back in this one. Of course, if he takes no further part, and they are certainly left short in the ruck, that'll be one to be looked at as we start the third quarter. But the Bombers have it. Some more injury concerns for Essendon and the tail of their season, really. That was terrific from the debutant. Rigo Vicentini putting his body on the line, a crunching tackle, injuring himself in the process, but he saved the goal, and it means the margin at the half is 16 points. Matthew Pavic a few times there, they tried to get away there, the Dockers, but they were reeled back in by Essendon.
Yeah, they got out to almost a 5-goal lead early in that second term, but then credit to the Bombers, they really did fight back and fight back hard. They pulled a couple of leaders in the coach's box, but it was an impressive fight back, even at half-time.
Certainly was, Sarah. 16-point lead to the Dockers at the half.
An interesting first half at the moment for us to dissect. Jason Dunstall, David King and Joey Montagna. Just 16 points the margin at halftime. It certainly felt like Fremantle were the dominant force and that the lead would really blow out. But credit to the Bombers, they've been able to pin it back.
Yeah, the rubber band stretched there a few times and it looked like the Dockers were going to break away. But you're right, credit to them. They found a way to hang in this. There's a couple of youngsters that are doing some really good things for them, that are just using raw enthusiasm to attack the footy, and it'll be interesting to see if they can persist and do this for 4 quarters. That's the big challenge for the Bombers.
I look forward to talking about Caleb Sarong in the post-match. He just doesn't stop. He's relentless, Joey. I think we've talked about him being a Brownlow medal contender over the last couple of weeks. He's doing it again.
Yeah, they've had some special individual first halves that we'll touch on in a moment. But credit to Essendon, as Jason said, and they've been able to have different modes and gears. So early on, it was a lot of high handball, taking the game on. And at the right time, they've been able to try and control the ball, take a bit of tempo out. And I think they're doing a great job to be 16 points down.
Our Harvey Norman highlights is a special individual performance. Jace, Luke Jackson, a couple of goals. He is a dominant force.
He is, and in saying that, we're going to talk glowingly about him. Young Vicentini's done some really good things in his first game in the ruck against it. He just got himself poleaxed in a tackle moments ago. But this man here, we know what he's capable of. He's using his physical presence, his athletic prowess. He gets involved, and we were talking about him pre-game, and he's got very much a big ruck rover style about him. But he's also managed to push forward, and he's got himself on the score sheet a couple of times. It's hard to go past him as a presence, isn't it?
Well, it's not so
much what he's doing, it's how he's doing it for me. And he needs to become a forward half presence for this team. Tracy's, I think, pretty much won out if you don't count Murphy Reid in that forward line. I don't know what's happened to DJI OM. That's a discussion for the post-match, but clearly the best player on the ground, the 6th highest first half of any player this season. So he's having a day. 2 goals, 8 hit-outs to advance, but this is what I want to highlight, Joe. We touched on it in the pre-game, and you can see the ruck, but he's doing the right thing. Roberts has handed over and said, I got him. He didn't see it through. So he really let Visentini down. But this, I'm only worried about Jackson. His ability to say, okay, sniffing a turnover, I'm getting forward. And charge he goes. Now, it's simple play, and great play by Reid to square it up and find him. But I just love the desire to get forward here. Sees, comes in, puts some pressure on, they step through, ball's left. And there's not much he can do in this passage of play now, except be an option once they switch the ball. Bang, straight into attack mode. He charges to the forward 50, works right across the ground to 60-metre lead, and he's just missed with that kick. The skills have been awful for the first quarter tonight. If they found him with another mark inside 50, basic stuff, but I love how he's playing tonight.
Jace, you love how Nate Caddy is playing, a young forward with a bright future that we're having a really close look at because he is a high draft pick and he is someone that Bombers fans are looking to with hope.
Yeah, he is, and he can do a number of different things. We know he's capable of taking a mark. What we're also seeing is a little bit of thought into his disposal. He's hit a couple of inside 50 kicks. This one here that hits up Peter Wright, who goes back and kicks the goal. That's a perfect kick. I mean, the midfielders can't kick it any better than that. Absolutely beautiful. He's led up the ground a number of times. He's been involved in change. Here he gets out the side, and then he's got to make a decision. Can I move the ball quickly? Have I got a target? Well, no, not really. So what I'll do is I'll take the man on the mark on. I'll back myself. I can run. I'm an athlete. You know, and he's had a couple of bounce stuff. This is the one where he kicks it back infield and he finds Kaggle. I didn't even see that kick, and I'm not sure if anyone else expected it except for Nate Caddy, but I just like what he's done. And then this one, he's jumped over the top and taken a big contested mark. We saw one where he had a couple of bounces, took the man on the mark. So he's showing us all the skills, and he's showing us that he can make decisions based on what's ahead of him as well. So I really like what he's bringing to the game. And if I'm an Essendon supporter, Sarah, as I know you are, you have to be excited about this young man.
All right, we're going to head to ground level now where Kath Lochnan and Adam Simpson are watching it all unfold. Guys, how are you seeing it?
Well, we are watching Archie Perkins. He was warming up behind us, the sub for Essendon. We will get a health check from the Bombers shortly. But Simo, take us into your coach's mind. What are you seeing?
It was a frenetic start, wasn't it? It was turnover to turnover. It sort of suited Essendon a little bit more. And I think Fremantle settled down a little bit. They really got them off for turnover. There were some turnover plays there where the young Essendon midfielders just didn't quite man up quick enough, and they got through and kicked a few goals from half back. Got away from the Bombers in that second quarter, and then they played an extra behind the play. Tactically, Fremantle didn't know what to do, so they equalised it. So it hasn't been just a simple game, but there's been a few strategy manoeuvres throughout the first half.
Are you admiring what Brad Scott's doing in the coach's box, given what he's got at his disposal?
Absolutely. I think the way they started just showed intent. You know, the energy that they brought into the game was fantastic. So can they sustain that for 4 quarters? Probably not, but they're going to have a swing. And the other part that was really impressive from an Essendon point of view is the ability to show some resilience. You know, momentum was getting away from them. Happened last week, so they learnt their lessons, and they managed to get, I think, 4 goals in the second quarter, which from a Fremantle point of view, they've got some work to do in that space, but it feels like a Fremantle game.
Yeah. They're having a crack the Bombers though, Sarah, and it's still game on.
It definitely is. Just 16 points the margin at half-time. Joey, one player the Bombers really need to try and sort out a solution for is Luke Ryan, because he's a wall. They just can't get past him.
Yeah, he was excellent in that first half, particularly the first quarter. Without skipper Alex Pearce, they need someone that can help intercept along with Jordan Clark. And he had 7 intercepts in the first quarter alone, which is the most by any player in any quarter this season. So he's been slightly down on his very best this year from his All-Australian year, but when he's in this sort of mode, he's such an important player for Fremantle. So the Dockers' first 2 goals of the game came off the back of Luke Ryan intercepts, and then they were able to go down the field and score. That's how important he is. So the 16 disposals, he's had the 4 score involvements, which is the second most behind Luke Jackson, considering he's playing at half-back. I've loved his game, and the most intercepts in a game this season is 16. He's on track at half-time with 8, so he's one to keep an eye on. But it's helped that Essendon have kicked the ball back to him a few times, but he's such a smart player and he knows how to set up and read the play.
So there's the numbers there. The fourth-ranked player on the ground, 16 disposals and 8 intercepts. Still plenty more to come on this halftime show, because after the break, we have John Ralph joining us for an edition of The Blowtorch. And, well, Kingy, you missed out last week. You left us to go and call the game. I had to step in, and I've been punted once again. You're back in for The Blowtorch. So we look forward to that Thursday night footy on Fox.
All right, there we go. Halftime, folks. A little bit of a wrap up from the commentators there, the special commentators. Well, the Dockers 9-3, 57 leading the Bombers 6-5, 41. 16-point margin here at halftime here at Optus Stadium. Of course, the Bombers fought back well in that second term. 4 goals, 3 the Bombers put on. 6 goals, 1. The Dockers kicking nice and straight. That is for sure. Just when I thought, well, some of the Freo fans thought this is going to be all over very shortly. They were starting to stretch their margin, but the Bombers came back. Hey, look, both of these teams, I think they're playing pretty well tonight, and I think the margin really will tighten up, especially coming into the end of the third quarter, somewhere around the fourth quarter. I think this is going to be a tight game. Could come down to the final 5 minutes. I think maybe it's the team who either wants it a little bit more, the team who drops off, the other team will just sort of nudge its way in front. And I think there you'll find your winner. But this is definitely not over by a long way. As I said, both teams going well. Both teams are, running the ball well. Dockers did do it a little bit better in that second term, though. They did look pretty good. Jackson, though, the big man for the Dockers, I tell you what, he's played an exceptional game so far. He's doing a lot of running, doing the hit-outs, winning those, and even doing a little bit of roving work. And, of course, kicking a couple of goals. I tell you what, he's been fantastic for the Dockers out there so far. Justin Lane, how you going? He says the Dockers will win by around 35, probably, but a good fight back from the Bombers. I think it'll be a lower scoring in the second half. I don't know. I'm not sure whether it'll be lower scoring, but 35 points, you just never know. Tell you what, it just depends. When I think, will one of these teams drop off a little bit? I think the key is that the size. They keep putting the pressure on. They're both putting good pressure on, and they've got to continue to put the pressure on, or the way the game's being played. I think that will just open it up for the team who drops off in the pressure, and I think that'll just give a little bit more freedom to the side that wants it more and will continue to put pressure on. So it's vitally important both teams continue to do what they're doing in the second half, and then it's just going to be what unfolds. They're just got to take their options when they can, sort of go inside forward 50. They've got to find their targets well and have shots on goal, and they've got to take those opportunities when they can. Of course, we're seeing that really well with the Fremantle Dockers, of course, kicking quite accurate at 9 goals, 3. The Bombers, however, just need to straighten up a little bit. 6 goals, 5. I just want to be a little bit more accurate there, like the Dockers are doing. But I think Adrian's pretty happy. Let's just put the live ladder up for all you frenetic Fremantle Dockers fans. There it is again, as I said. Fremantle will jump up into 6th spot if they can hold on tonight. And, of course, Gold Coast Suns and the Giants, not really easy games to play. Western Bulldogs will be the big threat because they're playing Richmond. I think they'll jump into the top 8 quite possibly after this week if one of those two teams falter. And, of course, the Doggies looking like a danger to everyone in the top 8, getting the full squad back. Big percentage. That's got to be a worry to everyone there. All right, let's just duck over and have a look at the goal scorers now. We've got a few more on the board. We've got a few multiples. And, of course, all the multiples come from the Fremantle Dockers. Josh Tracy with 2. Luke Jackson, the big man. I tell you what, as I said, he's having a ring-a-ding-ding game tonight. Luke Jackson, Shai Bolton bobs up with a couple as well. Caleb Sarong, Murphy Reid with singles with Michael Frederick for the Bombers. Let's have a look. Peter Wright, they're all singles. Peter Wright, Archer May, Lumen Lul, I think that's how you say it, Isaac Kako, Dersma, and Nate Caddy, who took a fantastic pack mark from over the back. slotted it through for a nice goal there for the Bombers. There, your goal scorers. Let's have a look at the ball magnets. Jai Caldwell still leads the way for the Bombers on 19. 10 kicks, 9 marks, 4 clearances going well. Caleb Sarong, he's doing some nice work out of the centre. 5 clearances, 16 touches, 12 kicks, 4 handballs. He's kicked a sausage roll as well, so he'll be happy about that. Luke Ryan, 16. Jordan Clark, 16. Darcy Parish, 15. Who was saying Darcy Parish will get 20 after half time? Was that you, B3? Could have been, I'm not sure. There we go. Addy G, come on, you got to have faith. Still not sure if you're going to win tonight. Well, it all depends. All depends if they can hold what they're doing well. If they can continue to do what they're doing in the opening half, I think that's going to hold Freo in good stead to continue on their merry way. As I said, I think this game is more even than the scoreboard just at the present time. Brayshaw up to 12. Good to see him. As I said, Luke Jackson on fire tonight with his 12 disposals for Luke Jackson. He's kicked 2 goals, 7 kicks, 5 handballs, 3 marks, 2 tackles, 2 clearances, 24 hitouts. I tell you what, he can't do much more than that. He can't do much more than that. If it was for me, I'd certainly put him in the Brownlow votes up until halftime. He's having a ring-a-ding-ding game. Vincenti 11 for the Bombers. Zach Merritt just with the 11. Nick Martin, well, he's only had 11, Nick Martin, a little quiet. He needs to step up his game a little bit. Dersma on 11 also. Let's roll on down. Matty Johnson there for the Dockers on 9, just a 3 and 6, 2 clearances. There we go. Kako's trying to come into the game for the Bombers, yet he's only had the 8. Not a real big impact, although he's kicked 1-1 off his 4 kicks. Angus Clark, well, he needs to step up his game as well. Just the 8 disposals, 5 kicks, 3 handballs. Has not troubled the scoreboard at the moment. Nate Caddy, come on, son. A little bit more from him. He can do some wonderful things. 8 disposals and the 1 goal. Bailey Banfield just with a 7. Paddy Voss there, 6. Josh Tracy on 6. 3 kicks. Well, he's kicked 2 goals. He's kicking nice and accurate. Nice one. Nice one, Josh. Shai Bolton, there we go. Still looking to continue his merry way in this game. He'll be a shining light if he can spark up a little bit more in this second half for the Dockers. 6 disposals, 4 goals. 4 kicks. 4 kicks, I should say. He's kicked 2 goals, 1. So he's pretty dangerous when he gets ball and able to put it on his boot. There we go. Where's our superstar? Of course, Nat Fyfe. We're just going to keep an eye on him. There we go. He played in that second term. He's played the opening half. He's only had 3 disposals, 1 kick, 2 handballs, a mark and a tackle. He does look a little bit slower, does Nat Fyfe, but I think his leadership out there is invaluable to the Fremantle Dockers, especially when there was a little bit of a skirmish on. He just settled his players down a little bit and said, all right, boys, that's enough of that. We've got into the Bombers' mindset enough. We've had a little bit of a scuffle, a tug of war with the jumpers on each other. Let's get back to the game, concentrate on the football. All right, team stats, disposals. Well, it's the Bombers by 13. I said it's a tight game, plus 12 in the kicks for the Dockers, but plus 25 handballs. Inside 50s, Dockers getting on top there. They've had an inside forward 50, 26 times for 12 scoring shots. Just about 48% there at my rough calculations. And, of course, the Bombers, 21 inside 50s for 11 scoring shots. So the Dockers did well in that second term, getting in there a few more times than the Bombers. Disposal efficiency, well, it's dropped off a little bit for both teams, but still above average, so that is pretty good. And, of course, free kicks, the hometown team on top in the free kicks, 12-10 there, plus 2 in that section. Always happy to keep the home crowd happy with the free kick count. Of course, there we go. The Fremantle Dockers, Jackson doing well, 26-13 in the headouts, Dockers dominating there. Of course, the clearances, pretty tight, 18-16, plus 2 to the Dockers. Centre clearances, plus 2 also to the Dockers, 8-6 stoppage clearances, all tied up around the grounds in the stoppage clearances, 10 apiece. There we go. Contested, tell you what, Said, pretty even game, isn't it, folks, when you're looking through all the stats? 60-62, and the contested, that's pretty much just a one-possession turnaround for the Bombers. Uncontested, only plus 17, doing well. Turnovers, not too bad, 31-30, a little bit lower in that second term. Good to see the marks. This is where the Dockers need to improve a little bit, and I'll probably talk about that at half-time. They're plus 9, of course, in the marks, but plus marks inside 50. This is where they've got to, well, they've just got to work a little bit better. Just get that space for themselves, even if they bring their forwards up a tad and run back and create a little bit of, is it Pagan's paddock, I think they used to call it back in the day, for their forwards to run in onto the ball. There we go. 9 inside 50s to the Bomber. Well, the average is 10, so they're just about on that. But the Dockers need to lift here. They've only had 1 mark inside their forward 50. Let's see what they do in the second half. Let's head down to the tackles. I presume. Well, there we go. Have a look at this. We're talking about pressure. We're talking about perceived pressure as well that these teams have got to put on. Their actual tackle count is quite low. 18 to the Dockers. Now, they should be up around 30 if they're going on season average. The Bombers, well, they should be the same. They should be up around 30. Tackle count a little bit low. We'll see what that is by the end of the game. Good to see both teams, though, getting 4 tackles, though, of that inside their forward 50. So we definitely like to see that. All right, that is that. Let's just put it back over there. Oh, we are only 30 seconds away from the bounce of the ball in the third quarter. Hey, don't forget to vote who you think's going to win. So far, we've got 61%. 61% saying Fremantle Dockers are going to take this game out this evening. 39% saying the Bombers live ladder. You want the live ladder again? All right, just before we head back, just in case, well, things turn sour, go south for the Fremantle Dockers. There's the ladder. Take a snapshot. Fremantle sitting 6th on the ladder so far, and of course looking good for the weeks to come. Because I think they've got a few weeks still at home, which is you know what, this is where they really need to win those games, capitalise and cement themselves in the top 8. But that's enough of me for talking up half time. Let's get back down to the action. It's the Dockers by 16. Let's go to the third quarter.
16-point margin at the half. Fremantle threatened to blow it out a couple of times. And they've held firm. Bounce in the middle. Visentini, terrific to see him out there after that knock. Third quarter underway as Brayshaw sends a high ball long. Fife got in a tangle with Clark. Crunch went Voss. And Merritt is hurt. That was an awkward collision. High tackle. Here goes to Merritt.
Well done by Merritt to get in the way, but I'm not sure Voss is entitled to go for the ball like that. I'm not sure there's a huge man in that.
Want to split the lip open as well of Merritt.
Able to go for the ball.
Ball in short for Parrish. Merritt's okay. Making his way up the field. Martin. Laverty. And knocked down by Tracy. So some forward pressure there from Freo. Bingo, Luke.
They haven't had many of those attacking mid type of turnovers or chains as yet.
Tracy kept it locked in their forward half. Jackson down. Visentini. There you go, Luke.
Yeah.
Jackson cleanly down. A hit out down the throat of Brayshaw. Pryor stood in the road of Tracy. McGrath down there. Amos hasn't seen too much of it. Good handball from Parrish. Langston able to get it through. Caldwell up the line. Touched by Clark. They're swarming Fremantle to get it locked at the 50 where Bolton can be dangerous. Amos looks inboard. Tracy. The 1-2 punch between the two big key forwards.
That's better from the Dockers because they're able to turn that over again. Clark, really impressive punch, and then Jai Amos. His firstly is his chase out of the forward 50 that allowed him to get into that spot. It's a classy finish as well.
Defensive effort from Clark. Moving on a Just worked it out to find Tracy. Already got 2 in the game. Josh Tracy bouncing back to some form on a Thursday night.
Well, that's the way they want to play, you know. Every team wants 4.5 turnovers. It's been a low turnover game. They've had 8 turnovers so far for the night. He's normally get between 20 to 25. That's a pretty standard night. To only have 8.5 times, really not what they want to build the game off. Fremantle. Last week they got a lot of scores from their back half as well. So get a turnover in the front half at the start of the third quarter is a good sign for their system.
Good vision of a key forward, just staying active and not doing a huge amount of work, but just getting to a position, repositioning. As the ball moves, you move. As the ball transfers, then you have to transfer as well. So not a huge amount of work, but just enough to keep active and get to a dangerous spot.
And Geelong last week had over 30 front half turnovers and really did the damage.
First goal of the third quarter goes Fremantle's way. That's Jackson again with the reach. This time held up with Cornwall. Jackson. Bolton kicked it the wrong way in the end. Brayshaw will bang it on his boot. Byzantini, Jackson knocked it down. Warner, Bolton, this is where they want to break. Away to 5, back to Bolton. Look out, great tackle. There's no prior there for Bolton. Martin ran it down immediately, as we see to this one. They went off with that hamstring tightness at the half, subbed out of the game. Archie Perkins in.
Doesn't want to kick. Nathan Fife, he was out there, shoulders out. Was looking for another hand pass.
He had 9 disposals last week. Nat Fife, all handballs in the last quarter when he came on. And Martin will go wide, out for Clark. Verdi. Back for Pryor. Being trapped in their defensive 50. Roberts in short for Martin. Just chip the footy around the Bombers.
That's what they tend to do. A lot of uncontested marks in possession here.
Punch by Warner. Lots of chip, mark, and then eventually they get the turnover or at least force it for a boundary throw and it's out of stoppage.
I think we all like seeing the handball receive Bombers that take the game on and take risks and try and break lines. Sometimes you've got to control the ball like that, but it look like they're at their best when they're playing that exciting brand that goes straight at the game.
All thrown in. Byzantini held his position well. Spills back, Jackson in there. Caldwell will clear it. Up the wing, Caddy in front. Draper the spoil. Caddy at the spill with the spin. Now Guelphy is wrapped up and holding the ball. Not really any pride, but he put the hand up to push off, which is the cue to pay the free.
Gee, Caddy looks a player, doesn't he? Attacks the ball, bounces straight back up. He looks lively.
Now Clark, leading disposal getter for the Dockers, number 18. Out to Ryan, the second most disposals for Fremantle. Number 17 for him, they find O'Driscoll. Fife on short. Forced to go by foot this time. Leads come, Amos. Waits. Just send it in. It skids in low. Couldn't find its way to Tracy. Reid went in. He was hoping for below the legs free kick and then it'll be a stoppage. Penetration on that entry kick.
Looks a bit rusty, doesn't he, Pat? It'll take a little bit of time to get back into the groove of the game.
Jackson and Byzantini. Reid was trying to flash through. Caldwell cleanly done out of defence to Laverty.
Had a lot of ball tonight, Joe. Caldwell up to 22 disposals. Lots of metres gained as well.
Just wonder if this is an instruction from the coach or it's just the way that Fremantle have made them play.
Been trapped in their back half, the Bombers. Now along to a contest. Caddy nudged underneath it. May was waiting to accept it. Can they get some territory here, Essendon? Bit of chip short for Clark, and then a longer ball to half forward. Warner and Draper spoil each other. Spills to Caldwell, who worked to half forward. Caddy got the arms clear. Merritt, Parrish, they'll go inside 50 to Bombers. Wide for Peter Wright. Sticky hands. Takes the mark on the boundary. Justin Longmuir frustrated. The Bombers get a look at it.
Well, as soon as the ball was actually in motion, the Bombers looked good there. They got in each other's way, Draper and Warner. And then This is a strong pair of hands from Peter Wright. That's a great mark under severe pressure from Cox.
Kicked one in the first quarter. Tougher angle this one though, from that earlier shot in the game. Want to go across the face, and Martin almost rising over the top. Couldn't hang on.
He was frustrated, mate. He was actually in the right position there. Even Jackson got caught under the ball and just couldn't quite drag it in though.
Ryan out of fullback, changed his mind about 3 times. Johnson out to Brendan Cox.
The kick-in strategy again that works quite well for Fremantle. Whoever's playing them next week can we get a hold of that?
Well sent long. The Saints next week coming to town. Sure, Crossline will be having a look at all those things.
Might have been a Ross play from back in the day.
It's just a really good way to get to centre forward, isn't it? I mean, it's strategic, but you've got to execute it as well.
A stretch of a number of games at home, Fremantle, they're trying to make the most of. And a free kick here will go to Jackson in the ruck. Byzantini's given his all in that battle so far, but Jackson been so influential.
Yeah, look, Jackson had a burst of form in the late in the first, early in the second, but Byzantini's doing well.
Now Chapman. Ryan's waiting for it. He's got some space ahead. He'll go with the short option though. Erasmus. Amos on the lead. Erasmus didn't spot him. It was teed up to the hot spot. High ball in there. Tracy, but in front. That's a great mark to Prime.
Yeah, Xiaomi said made a very nice lead. It was probably an early lead, and that's why Erasmus didn't see him, but he was on.
Just the 15. It must have been to Martin, and then out wide. Hobbs. Clark defensively again, but infringed.
Didn't quite get there. Jordan Clark had the free kick away, but that's the intent. That's the better intent from Fremantle defenders, to get up, to stop these exits, keep it in your front half.
Johnson will switch it up to Laverty. Chip mark again. Martin working hard right across the ground to receive. It's a method from Essendon. Can they find a way through though? Setterfield, now Perkins. Not push, allowed to go. Clark. This is where they can open them up. Parrish, McGrath, spun out of a tackle. He's got some runners waiting wide. Hobbs to Clark, who pushed forward even further. Now to Johnson, who was in defence just a few moments ago. Deep into attack, but a wasted kick. It was straight to the defender, Brendan Cox. His kick, got the little push as he went to get rid of it. Erasmus reeled it in, and that's a high up and under. Bolton knocked it down. Bombers a chance here. Kako, fleet of foot across the 50. There's nothing on the kick. Straight to Johnson. Hasn't been a pretty last couple of minutes. Brayshaw to Sarong. Might have been behind there, I think, as the ball goes to the 50. Up towards Amos. He has a fumble. Bombers can recover. Pryor. Clark working hard both ways. Finds Setterfield, and everyone can take a breath.
I think you're being very kind pass. That was ugly from both teams.
Some of the pressure's gone completely out of this game.
Perkins long kick. Clark and Guelphy. He spoiled that Clark, and he'll claim the mark. Again, playing a good game. Disposal 19 coming up. Danger ball into the corridor, but Brendan Cox with a saving mark for his side. The Bombers were sweating all over that one. Setterfield looks sore. Kick out wide to Erasmus. Perkins, those fresh legs sucked in at half-time, able to get to the contest and then send it forward towards Caddy. Over his head, Docker's the number. The bounce by the Caddy though. Chapman laid a good tackle, left it for Merritt, opens the door for Guelphy, snap towards goal. Just misses. And that would have been oh so handy for Essendon.
Once again, it was Caddy 2-on-1, who ended up winning the ball, and then that was a wonderful opportunity for Guelphy to just get the Bombers back into this one.
Setterfield are up and okay. He's staying on.
Feels like, Pat, both teams do not want to kick this to a contest at the moment. There's either spare players everywhere and they're not executing, or it's an instruction. Here's the first down the line play of the quarter.
Just one goal in this quarter went to Josh Tracy. Fremantle might get a break here as it's Brayshaw working hard and now they're out. Frederick at half forward. Amos wants it in short, leads back and drops the mark. He's got some runners, bolts it on the burst. Centre field ran him down. Great defensive chase. Essendon survive. Martin gets it out to half back. Oh, didn't quite find a mark. Clark under the pump, dangerously back to McGrath. Is that 15? Been paid. Clark, a handball. Now they do have to go. McGrath's going again. We see some more run in the game. Johnson will love to do that. The kick just skids its way up the wing. Wright couldn't control. Johnson there for Fremantle. It's a scrappy footy to be won in this third term. Wagner, Ryan, Banfield. Now they can go. Numbers at half forward. Up towards Frederick. Knees pitched to the turf. There must have been a half volley call to play. Luck breaks for Essendon. They go back through the middle. Guelphy, Merritt. Not much on offer. Clever kick. Perkins, bang. It was bumped by Clark going for the footy. And we will get a stoppage. We just couldn't get that final connection piece at either end.
Well, two things. He should have taken the mark, but it was a free kick with front-on contact. I would have thought at the same time. A great goal-saving tackle there.
That's an arm wrestle. Well and truly in this third quarter. And we're going to see a free kick here in the ruck contest go to Voss.
What has happened to this game? Perhaps in the last 15 minutes. It started with Essendon, and when you're trying to attack from your back pocket, it's really hard to get speed, and quite often you get it off those down-the-line plays. But unfortunately, both sides have been unable to connect from their back half. Fremantle more centre-back around this type of area, struggling to get through, and Essendon are getting the ball back too deep to attack at their end.
Marching to 16 at the half. It's 20. So we go towards Frederick. Off hands. Tracy. Feed it now to Brayshaw. He misses a target by hand. Back to Erasmus. Retreats for Ryan. Thought about going all the way back inside offensive 50. Instead, he's got it to Wagner.
So you and I are watching this saying there's a couple of these long down the line plays that Freo actually are getting some speed off and looking dangerous from, but they aren't that convinced.
No, they don't do it tonight. Last week they got 5 goals from the back half doing that exact play. Kick it down the line, get some speed off the crumb and get out the back. But tonight they're trying to control the ball a little bit more.
Draper. Long up the line they have to go. Frederick at the front. Couldn't hang on in the fingertips. Laverty. Handball releases Caldwell. Now for Caddy, who continues to present well. Pretty stagnant forward though. Eventually a lead comes. May shows his time to go.
Great skill. Yep. They need him down the forward line now. That's all he's going to get.
He's rolling back towards the 50 now, but May's going to send it into a dangerous area. Centre field from the side. Fife driving. Draper, Chapman, Dockers can clear. Johnson, Clark, up the wing. Poor kick. Not sure who it was intended for. Pryor back inside 50, and they find Gresham.
Lost a bit of structure in front of the ball. The Dockers just this last few minutes. Bombers were just waiting for that one from that scrappy old kick that came out of defence, and they've had a good couple of minutes. They just haven't been able to hit the scoreboard.
A challenging couple of minutes to look at, but
it's that kick from earlier. With
yeah, you got to get in the right hands. I think that was a free kick. He's taken the mark, but those plays happen, and this is an important kick. This brings it to within 14 points, and same thing happened last week, Pav, with North Melbourne. Just left the door ajar.
4 goals across his last 3 games after he was goalless in 4 consecutive matches. Jay Gresham, Bombers need it to cross the face though. He was searching for the extra distance and couldn't get it on target.
A lot of talk about this. There's the highlight and the kick coming in. They've done this well on occasions tonight. The Bombers just change the angles, lower the eyes. A lot of talk about the Bombers being young. Freo also very young, the 4th youngest, and they haven't been able to gap the game. And it happened last week. You're right, Simo left the door ajar. Just not able to really hammer home some of the advantage they've had.
Well read by Brayshaw out the back. Jackson, a kick long. Amos takes the mark. And Fremantle moved the footy a little quicker this time.
There's another example of it, long down the line, speed off that. They're held up on this play, but it has been working pretty effectively for them.
Goes sideways for Chapman. Essendon with a stack of numbers back in their defensive 50. Tough to find an option. Chapman's just going to set it wide to the pocket. He wants Jackson to launch. Off hands. Wilkinson gets a handball, but he coughed it up to Voss. Now there's Dockers waiting. Reed tackled by Roberts and holding the ball to call. Advantage goes the Bombers' way. They don't have much up the line. Punched down by Fremantle. Wagner committed, as did Hodge. Knocked to the line. Insufficient intent.
It's the post-clearance contested possession, I reckon, that has been where Essendon are actually going okay this quarter. They just can't score.
Wagner will go in again. Ill-directed and right. Looked like he was the leading forward on that occasion.
You're playing with the Burleys, Pav. Balls that get kicked around.
Not a fan?
All on Caddy. Underneath it, May tapped it on. Hobbs tackled, slipped low. Ryan had him. May still fighting for it. O'Driscoll off his hands. Good pressure, good tackling there from Essendon. We'll lock it up.
Oh, Ross Faulkner's back in the day from the east. But look, it's been good from Essendon's point of view. They've hung in there, you know. They've been criticised for their defence in recent times, and they've kept this team to 60 points halfway through the third quarter.
Lost by 95 last week to Geelong. Fighting response from these inexperienced Bombers. It's Fremantle sent it to the 50. Tracy, the defenders were worried about him and went past the footy. They went back though. Laverty chips it up. Setterfield, courage from both players. He's been crunched into again, Setterfield. O'Driscoll put his body on the line to win the footy for his team. Five to Sarong. Looks goalward. We need a goal. We need some class. And we see it from Caleb Sarong. The game has been begging for someone just to be able to steady and send it through the sticks at either end. But this collision is what caused the ball to spill. Setterfield and O'Driscoll.
Wonderful courage from Nathan O'Driscoll, Setterfield as well, coming the other way. That's
a free kick, Pav.
I don't think so, but I'll have another look at it. And that's what set it up. The Dockers had actually set up a corridor slide off the rebound. It's a wonderful finish from Caleb Sarong. He's kicked two really impressive goals. Maybe he got his hand on the ball. Yeah, he did. That's why there's no free kick. Well done by O'Driscoll. Set that goal up. 5 to Sarong. And that's a nice goal.
Caleb Sarong with a couple in the game. One from the boundary, one there on the run, and the margin back out to 25. It was such a scrappy 10 minutes of play. The game just needed a goal, whichever way it was going to go, and then a free kick. And Fremantle might have just got a lift. Sarong out to O'Driscoll. He's being urged to take it on by his teammates and the crowd. There was no one on the mark, so he drives it in. Tracy almost hands to it. Reed spun into trouble. Ball up.
Got his hands to a lot tonight, Josh Tracy. Just hasn't quite stuck on a number of occasions like he did late in the game last week against the Kangaroos. Still hit the scoreboard.
Number 3 in the comp for contested marks. Josh Tracy is close to reeling that one in. Bolton at his feet, and he's tackled. So pretty critical 4 minutes coming up here as we roll in towards three-quarter time.
Sort of stoppage goal from Bolton in that first quarter. Can he wrap around here?
Dockers want to put a gap in the game. Essendon in defence, coughed up by Perkins. Spills away. Banfields. Hunting after him was Merritt. Had a pretty good tackle in the end. Sarong was strong, but turns it over. Byzantini back there helping. Been impressive on debut. And a dangerous kick and punched away by Amos.
First intent from the Bombers is to go natural and slow, which it might help protect the scoreboard a little bit, but either do it quickly or take some meterage. And at the moment, Fremantle have just locked this ball in their 450. There's 3 and a bit minutes to go.
Up the stadium looking beautiful, as always, Paps.
Not a bad seat in the house. Big crowd in for a Thursday night in the West. Jackson, Sarong shoveled it out. Erasmus, O'Driscoll on his left, then Wagner. And a ball up. Jackson.
Holding Fremantle.
Will get a free kick in the ruck. The arms around from the debutant. Luke Jackson can go back for a set shot.
This will be, if he can get there, goal number 3. He's actually had a relatively quiet third term, only the one disposal. Byzantini really fighting back hard. They would have used that massive tackle, goal-saving tackle at the end of the second term as inspiration. So he's lifted, but Jackson's opportunity for 3.
Luke Jackson dominated the first half. Solo ruck tonight. Leans back. Looks good off the boot. Snakes it home. 3 goals for Luke Jackson. He's in career best form.
Really starting to hit the scoreboard, Jackson, and that's the 5th goal from the stoppage to 0 for the game. It's probably the difference overall. Not bad. Free kicks always hurt you from clearances. Opportunity to set up in the front half. As you see this here, geez, it could have gone play on mode, but that's what happens eventually. If you start to react to the dominant ruckman, you're always going to give away a couple of free kicks a game. To give one just on the 50-metre arc, it's the 5th goal from clearance, and like I said, the difference in the game. It's the biggest strength, Fremantle, when they get their clearance game going through Sarong and Brayshaw and Jackson. It's how they get their field position. Sometimes they don't score, but they definitely lock it in their front half.
Out to game on 31 points, 7 straight from set shots. Fremantle tonight, kicking them well. Jackson's had a big influence, and he continues to get to work out of the middle to Sarong. Floats the footy out to half forward. Voss, a bounce up for him. He's got runners inboard. Johnson, Brayshaw, steps around centre field. He can open up the goals himself. Brayshaw lets it fly. Fremantle putting the foot down.
Yeah, tremendous work from the centre square. Andy Brayshaw started in there and just moving forward. Firstly, it's the combination of Jackson Sarong once again. Brayshaw just goes knowing that he can go with freedom, given they had the ball. Johnson finds his midfielder, and Brayshaw does a little dance, and he has for most of the night, driven with the legs, and then hasn't always been his strength, finishing his work off, Andy Brayshaw, but he enjoyed that one.
Really learning how to celebrate too, Fremantle. They've gone to another level tonight, and they've got to enjoy the goals. And like I mentioned earlier, the dominance around the ball is their real feature. And tonight, when they really get on top, they're really going to drive this home through the stoppages.
It's hit the 20 disposal mark again. Andrew Brayshaw in a game at Optus Stadium, now 51. The last 52 at Optus, he's reached that mark. Kick inside 50 out the back. Bolton will help himself. Run down by Roberts, holding the ball. Brilliant tackle. Bolton thought he was clear. And Roberts saves the day for the Bombers.
That's happened a couple of times tonight, 3 times in fact. What a wonderful effort it was. Bolton thought he was going to waltz into the open goal. Just fantastic. Didn't give up the chase.
Out of defence they go. Sarong playing another big game. Wins it back.
It's there from a ruckman, smallest man on the ground, but that just shows you the experience, perhaps.
They're pushing hard to 3/4 time, the Dockers. Kick into the pocket, off the hands of Amos. Johnson in there, Parrish, Roberts, McGrath. Out now to Setterfield. To half-back, Caddy continues to lead. It was a good kick to him. It presents up well.
Draper was next to him, and then Caddy just went zip.
Is Draper quick?
He must be. Yeah, I think he is. To play key position, you have to be pretty quick.
It's kind of top. He's gone 70 metres up the wing.
He went the barrel to make it there, and it carries over the pack. Pulling out the party tricks as well. But it will be a free kick going away. We're just getting a very good look at the capabilities of Nate Caddy.
That's scary. It's scary.
That's gone a long way.
So the ability to get on the lead, firstly, he started next to Draper and then just went zip straight past him. There's a beautiful kick coming to him, and then he said, all right, I'll just kick a torp 70 metres down the road.
We'll get a measuring tape out on that one for bounce on Sunday night, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He's now Setterfield. Feed it back. McGrath through the corridor. It's off the side of the boot. Johnson can intercept. It's just knocked out of his hands. Brayshaw, Sarong. 10 seconds remain. One last chance, perhaps. There's Warner with a long kick. 5 drifting over the back. Frederick knocked it down. Voss, seconds tick down. Bolton needs to kick it quickly. The siren will beat them. And they put a gap in the game late on in that third quarter. Did the Fremantle Dockers. It was a 16-point margin at halftime. The fans certainly impressed with that last 10 minutes of footy, led by Luke Jackson. And at three-quarter time, it is a 37-point lead to Fremantle. The footy continues tomorrow night on Fox Footy. The Cats in action against the Brisbane Lions. A massive top 4 clash coming your way all tomorrow night from 6:30 Eastern.
All right, there we go. It's the end of the third term here, folks, at Optus Stadium. And, of course, the Dockers, well, they're getting the job done. Important time, live ladder. My gosh, you want to see how much percentage they're making in this game? I tell you what, the first 2/3 of that third term, though, Eddie, it was a scrappy game. Both teams were fumbling. It wasn't too pleasant. And then, of course, the Dockers thought, hang on a minute, let's get back to the basics. And they started to do what they needed to do correctly. And they went bang, 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 3 goals in that, in a matter of moments. Of course, the Dockers putting on 4 goals straight in that third term. The Bombers. That's what we're talking about. Who wants it more in this game? And I think, well, I think Dockers actually want it a little bit more. Tell you what, I don't see the Dockers getting steamrolled in this game tonight so far. I think they've responded well to everything that Essendon have done. Essendon certainly dropped off in that third turn. They certainly slowed their game down a little bit. Didn't have too much of that running game going. And, the Dockers just started to open them up a little bit. As we can see here by the, a 37-point margin. I think this is going to be a margin too great. Even the Bombers to come back and the Dockers to give it up. There we go. My gosh. Straight kicking. Straight footy. 13 goals, 3. There we go. 16 scoring shots to 14. 2 more scoring shots, as you say. 13-13. I tell you what, it is the real art in footy. Kicking straight, you're going to do the damage, and that's exactly what the Dockers are doing. Let's have a look at the season ladder for Addy G. There we go. Fremantle 6. Just keeping an eye on that percent. 109.8. Let's have a look how much percent they've actually gained. 109.8. They've gained 3.2%. 3.2% in their percentage. So that's really good news there for the Dockers. I tell you what, 3.2. I don't think they're going to manage to jump up in the 5th. They've still got another couple of percent to go above Hawthorn. Well, I tell you what, if they get another 5 goals, anything's possible. Maybe another 5 goals, they might jump up in the 5th spot, Addy G. But this is something they've got to really concentrate on when they've got the team on the ropes. They've got to sort of put them away like good sides do. And they've got to, this is one of those times they've got to start and build percentage, because looking at their percentage, that's still a little bit low. They want to be up that into the teens, high teens somewhere, because you got like the Gold Coast Suns at 123. That's like a full game. When you're on level pegging, and of course the Dogs creeping up there, you want that percentage boost. So that's exactly what they're trying to do there tonight. Of course, the goal scorers, there we go. Josh Tracy, Luke Jackson, have a look at him. I tell you what, he's got to be in the votes tonight. Both 3 goals. Caleb Sarong 2, Shai Bolton 2. All the multiple goal scorers are from the Dockers. Murphy Reid, Frederick, Brayshaw with 1. The Bombers, though, they're just singles. Peter Wright, Archer May, Lowell, Kako, Dersma, Caddy. We're just going to have a look at the first few disposal getters, and then we're going to head back down to the ground for, let's get ahead of the Hawthorn. I know, a couple percent, it's possible. I'm not sure how much they need for an extra couple of percent, maybe another 5 goals in front might do it. Caleb Sarong, I tell you what, he had a fantastic third term, up to 26, 6 clearances, 2 goals. He's doing really well. Caldwell from the Bombers, 25. Luke Ryan, 24 with Parrish and Clark. There we go. All right. But I still like the stats of Luke Jackson down here, the ruckman for the Dockers. I tell you what, he's pretty good. He's having a good few games. 15 touches, 9 kicks, 6 handballs, 3 marks, 3 tackles, 34 hitouts, 6 clearances, 3 goals. Tell you what, so far you'd nearly have to give him the 3 votes, because I reckon he was the guy for Fremantle that certainly got him in the game in that opening term. I think he was really important play to them. There we go. All right, hey, that's enough for me. We saw the ladder. We've got 69% saying the Fremantle Dockers. Looks like I might owe Tina Game Board a bowl of rice when I next get over there. I'll have to shout her a bowl of rice. Jackson on fire. Tell you what, he's doing it good for a big man. I'll have to keep an eye on him next time I watch a few more of the Dockers games, see how he fares up. But yeah, he was doing a little bit of roving of the ball, his hit outs, his goal kicking. I tell you what, sprinting across the ground, he's doing great for ruckman. Tell you what, he's starting to become one of the good ruckmen in the competition. All right, let's head back down to the ground. Hey, it is the Dockers by 37 points. Going into the final term here at Optus Stadium. Tell you what, can they put a margin, pick up an extra couple of percent and move into 5th position? Well, we're going to find out in just a moment when the Dockers take on Essendon in the final quarter here at Optus Stadium. Let's head back down to the ground for the final quarter.
But you're right, they've got Wagner playing minutes, they've got Johnson on a wing, they've got Erasmus. Fife had a quiet night tonight, been playing half forward and some midfield. But that core group, when your best players are playing well, yeah, makes a difference.
Well, Wagner's done a job for the most lot on Merritt, which Merritt's had 15 touches, so he's got a role to play. And I think having the A-grade talent with someone who can lock down on the best opposition mids is also a benefit.
37 points the margin. Fremantle were almost overrun by the Kangaroos in the last quarter last week. The Bombers got another challenge in them. Will Fremantle press on as in the middle of the ground, Vicentini to get this final quarter underway. The Dockers and the Bombers from Optus Stadium. Essendon will get the first clearance. Martin fed it back to Clark. He's playing that more defensive role the last couple of weeks, getting back and helping out. Now to Setterfield. Very short, sharp, chipping, kicking game in the third quarter there for Essendon, but a skill error there. And sent away by Setterfield and out for a boundary throw-in.
And if you're Essendon, it hasn't been a disaster tonight. They've had a go, just haven't been there with the skill or experience. Too much, too few.
Justin Lemire a little happier with the numbers at three-quarter time, perhaps, than he was about midway through that term. Ball knocked out Clark. Over the top of it, Johnson. I'm going to get it clear. Warner. Chapman, just a great step around Kako. He waited till the last second to take it on. Then he runs into trouble. Elusive again. Not the third time. He's still got a handball away. But the Bombers win it back. Parrish will send it in. And I'm just trying to do a bit too much out of defence there, the Dockers.
He didn't know what to do. Through once, twice and 3 times. So good pressure from the Bombers. And when they do get that front half game and the supply there, they've got some good ground level pressure players.
May with a mark inside 50, a chance for the first of this last quarter. There's one too many tackles in the end. Got up by Gorfy to force the issue. And now May. Just his second game off the mid-season draft, showing a little glimpse of his potential. Kicks his second.
He's been decent tonight. Archie May's been in the right place a lot of times. He kicked a wonderful check side and he's finished off his work there thanks to the teammates' pressure up the ground. It's a great first step here from Chapman. Not entirely sure that's the right play to be calling for a handball receive with really 4-on-1. Maybe just tell your teammate to control the ball, but great pressure from the Bombers. And then, yeah, it's been a great pickup also, hasn't it, in the mid-season draft? We've seen a number of them. He's looked to play it. at times made, 11 disposals, a couple of goals, 2 inside 50s, 5 score involvements. It's been a good night.
Well, they've had 12 marks inside 50 tonight, Essendon, to Fremantle's 2. So there's some things that are working well. Just got to get a bit more supply.
Kicked the 12 goals across 6 games in the Waffle before getting his chance. Playing for Subiaco after making the move west across the summer. Fremantle out of the middle. Sarong drives it in. Voss hands to it. Bursts through one tackle. There
we go.
Drags the ball off. Wait for the celebration. The prancing pony is away.
He's got some power. So let's focus on the goal. The celebration was amazing as well, but the power to run away like he did and take the tackle on. The big bison that he is, he looks a bit...
Just strength in the middle too, Pav, just to rip it out of Essendon's hands. And this is the craft piece we talk about. You might be able to talk more about how to compete like that and when it hits the ground, the asset the forward has.
Yeah, I mean, first it's about holding your position, the marking contest. That's the first and foremost. The defender's right there. It's a little shiver, twist of the hips, and then just drive through the tackle, take the tackle on, and then take off the world with a celebration as well.
Well, he spoke to us last week that his top GPS numbers are after he kicks a goal. He just hit top speed there. They certainly brought a different dynamic to that Fremantle forward line. It's Jackson, Sarong, cleverly along the ground to Brayshaw, by hand to Fife. The big trio get involved, long ball in, Frederick almost off hands. Clark back there, get a handball out, and Martin's happy to see it fumbled over the line.
Just a couple of times tonight, the key forward talk about their craft, but I'd love to see them just maybe hold and let their... On that occasion was Tracy and Frederick was coming back. Just hold your position a little bit more and back your teammate in. Caleb Sarong up to 29 disposals, having a big night.
Jackson cleverly down to Johnson. Into attack again. Pryor. He's taken a couple of good intercepts.
Yeah, they've got an extra behind the play now. Bit of protection from clearances. You can either put numbers at the stoppage to help win it, or you can put them behind the ball. It looks like they put a player behind the play.
So when they do put a player behind, now it's about that control we talked about earlier, Simo.
We'll get stuck.
Yeah.
Roberts out of defence. Clark, good body work. Frederick recovered.
That's what happened when you debut a ruck. And he's been pretty good. He's done a really good job. You see ground level. The players now have sort of worked out where it's going, and some of the moves and running patterns they make are looking pretty good.
So you've got to get a hand on it there. Jackson could have got over the shoulder of Merritt. Caldwell, Parrish, back to Setterfield. And up the line. There's a nudge from Ryan. And spotted. So the free kick, in fact, go to May. Up to half forward, Caddy. Tracked it a couple. Bombers at the spill. Perkins wrenched to the turf by Clark. Again, another showcase of his defensive intent.
He's having an outstanding season, Jordan Clark. He's had a lot of the ball again tonight, a stack of it, in fact. But it's this part of his game that he's just taken to a new level. Justin Lomby was speaking to us before the game about his leadership and how much he's stepping up and embracing that role. Well, it's also showing in his actions on the field as well.
Giannis attacks it in the air. And locked up. Jackson wins it down. Sarong, Reed, and boundary line.
Coaching point of view now, we can't see it on TV at the moment. There's an extra behind the play. So Fremantle need to decide, do we take our extra in Orion and just control the game a little bit, or do we equalise and take the game on?
It's Murphy Reid at this point in time, and/or Sharp, who are just on either side of the ruckman here.
Jackson down for Sharp. Just spotted.
So yeah, Reid is the one at this point in time, just there, just near the A of the AFL logo.
Straight down to Sharp that time. Parrish might have caught one high in there. Fife on the boot. Frederick knocked down. Wagner right the tackle, got it to Warner, to Sarong. And now to Clark. They look up. They want to mark inside 50. It's Bolton. Oh, spills it. Knocks it away. Rare fumble and mistake from Shane Bolton, who looked like he was going to gobble that one up. Knocked away O'Driscoll. He paddles it back. They'll reset and reload again, Fremantle. As Ryan to Sarong. Stabs it in hard towards a 50. Wagner leads up. Rare error there from Shea Bolton inside 50.
It's had one of those nights, perhaps, where the good has been very good, but the bad.
Into the hot spot, Visentini.
He's dropped a couple of marks. He's been tackled on the goal line. He's been throwing his weight around. He's had an indifferent night, Shea Bolton.
Martin out of defence. The pressure comes. Setterfield. They put themselves under pressure there. Essendon. As Perkins, just that duck kick out. Only finds Luke Ryan. And takes his 10th mark of the night. Short for Fife.
This is the game now. Extra in your forward line versus extra in your back line.
Chips it up for Reed. Wants to turn and go. He sprays it. And lobs Tracy almost. Bolton down there. Working in a tight space. Nicholson tapped it back in, but straight to Amos. Now O'Driscoll, that favoured left boot. They can just heave it through for a goal. A welcome return for Nathan O'Driscoll.
How important is he, Perth, for their makeup? I mean, he's obviously sharp and O'Driscoll out on the wings. They play roles. It's hard to sometimes see them contribute when you're not knowing what their roles are. But where do you see him?
Well, I think we were talking about before, who's the extra midfielder, maybe inside midfielder. I think he's one of those ones that can go in as well as play on the outside. He keeps his width here, as you talked about, sort of playing that sometimes selfless role on the wing. You're stuck out there all day, it doesn't necessarily get to you, but that's a really nice finish, and I think he is an important piece of this Fremantle midfield.
He's definitely in their best 22.
Yeah. He's averaging over 20 disposals for the first few games of the season. We see Nat Fife there. Looks like he's got the sub out in this final quarter. So not quite a full game for Nat Fife. His third game back, he only played a quarter in his first 2 weeks. And now he plays 3 and a bit. How have you seen his night?
That's fair enough too. He's getting to the twilight of his career. He's got through 3 weeks now, so they'll have to persist with the full game next week.
Jackson in the ruck will do his own roving and get it out to Sarong. It's been a terrific combination tonight, those two. Bolton knocked it down. Banfield back to Bolton. There's Bombers left. Saul and hurting. And Bolton misses. He had so much time and space. It just hasn't been his night.
No, he's had 4 shots a go. He's had 6 score involvements, but
He still kicked a couple.
he has. Just hasn't nailed it. There is 5. Hasn't had a huge impact on this one, but he's building.
Jackson. Too much strength there for Visentini.
I actually think Visentini's been pretty good. I mean, I know it's been a bit of a lesson from Jackson, but he competes well for a first gamer.
Aish, a high ball in. Tracy to the front. Bolton in there again. Pakistan with that handball through. Wagner. Tracy got the arms clear. Banfield, centering ball. O'Driscoll, well knocked it down. A whistle and a hold and a free kick coming back to O'Driscoll.
And this is what he can do as well. He can hit the scoreboard, Nathan O'Driscoll. Bailey Banfield brought up because he's played all the game at half-back. They sub Nathan Fife. Aish goes to half-back, and then Bailey Banfield just pops up in the right place at the right time. That versatility is so important. As a coach, Simon, how important is it to be able to play players in different positions?
Well, I think he could be down the track a perfect sub. I mean, you either have a versatile sub or have someone on the ground who can be versatile.
O'Driscoll just kicked his first of the night, and he misses. So after they were so accurate early on the game with those set shots, that's a bad miss there. Sarong and Fife. All smiles down there on the bench with a margin of 45. Chapman, handball over the shoulder. Hobbs, Roberts, shoveled it across to Caldwell. Right back for Roberts. Scrubs a kick up the line. Bouncing ball made it tough for May. Hobbs, Caldwell, look out. Aish looking to impact.
Well, you look at the stoppages throughout the night. You mentioned earlier, Pat, but after quarter time, it's been a pretty dominant display. You know, +3 to the Bombers in the first quarter, just progressively got better for Fremantle.
Strong tackles are enough of an attempt to get it out. Just spilled at the last second. As it might have been holding the ball. Brayshaw, Chapman, Warner with some run. Erasmus, Banfield pushing forward. Just couldn't handle the footy. Pakistan did well to get across and win it back for Essendon. Lyle to Gresham. Back over the top for Luau. Driscoll lost his footing. And it's sent up towards Gresham, who did well to find it in the end. So he was falling to the turf. And he goes inside 50. A wobbly old kick. Difficult for Caddy and Kako. Great pick up from Caddy. Down low. They're showing us everything tonight. Then Luau will follow up and take the mark.
We just kept looking at each other, don't we, Simon? This guy is going to be a star. Like, seriously. I'll just pick it up one-handed. Thank you very much. First give. And then a nice kick from Kako. But Caddy, gee whiz.
Well, we are seeing a glimpse of the future for the Bombers, as much as Fremantle have been young all year with their experience, and Essendon's been more out of necessity with the injuries. So there'll be some positives out of tonight that I'll take back home.
And on the way, second year on the list. Debut a couple of weeks ago, looking for his second goal on the evening, and he converts. A round of applause from Caddy. Lau sending it through. And again, just those small little wins for the Bombers, seeing some of those new faces in their team.
He showed a bit, Luau, as well, not only in hitting the scoreboard with a couple of goals, but defensively he's actually pressed up and done a number of really nice things for the Bombers. There he is. He starts with the ball, and then let's just admire Caddy again, stretching, taking Draper back away from the ball, give yourself some room to lead back up at it. It's a shot and kick, but then I'll just pick it up one hand, no worries. And Luau continues on, as he should, and kicks a really nice goal. He showed a bit.
Marching back under 40 points. Docker's really putting a gap in the game just before three-quarter time.
I want to finish this one up off, perhaps, because last week against North, this one's been a bit of holding. But yeah, they haven't really finished a game off in true style, so this last 10 minutes always counts.
Taken by Erasmus. Set it to Brayshaw. Percentage certainly a factor too for Fremantle. Zaid pushed towards the second half of this season. Long ball in. Brayshaw, Tracy, Amos there too. Ball at feet. Good pick up from Amos to Sharp. We've got ping pong ricochet in there. The Falcon as well.
Haven't they done well, the tolls for Essendon? Like they're decimated down there for height. Laverde and Blackiston, Archie, right? Those guys, they're not key defenders, and to only concede 2 marks in their full D50 has been a tremendous job.
Against the tall targets that the Dockers have down there, well and truly. Good tackle here. Voss put a bit of extra emphasis on it. It was over the boundary line. Throwing his weight around again, Patrick Voss.
It is entertaining watching that kid, especially when he backs it up.
He's storming here. Almost went a bit high there on Martin. Ball there with Banfield. Got it to Brayshaw. Goes back in again. Lots of numbers around the footy. It's a tough one to spill out. Bit of tunnel ball being played.
We heard Justin Lumley talk about Pat Voss before the game about he turns up early, he does the work. He couldn't have worked harder to get himself into this position, and he competes as a key forward. That's what you're going to do. You're going to compete, give effort all the time.
Bit of a point to prove tonight as well, up against his old side, who he spent a couple of seasons with. One of VFL best and fairest. Debut for a game for the Bombers at AFL level. Free kick here, go to May.
Another player for the Bombers we've highlighted at times has had some really good moments. A good match.
Long kick of the footy too. In towards Caddy. Almost. Hands to it with strength. Roberts tackles. Wanted a free. Didn't get it. It'll be a ball up.
This goes to show this Fremantle lineup without Alex Pearce down there. No, he'd be probably playing on Caddy.
Tracy, O'Driscoll, Brayshaw, Ryan. Back for Clark. Outside of the boot. He's going for distance. Wright is there. Couldn't hang on. Tackled well by Banfield and wins a free kick.
Disappointing tonight. Right, I really needed him to step up. Work with Caddy, work in the ruck.
A switch from Banfield, dangerous. Luau, great pressure. Knocked on by Caddy. Back to Luau. Across now to Gresham. They try to take it on Freo. They paid the price. Tremendous defensive effort from Lamont Luau. Results in a goal to Gresham.
Yeah, and I'm glad they're going over to him because that's the third or fourth time he's pounced on a ball that could have almost just gone to a Fremantle player, but he was there, Luau, and Jake Gresham gets to go. Well done to him, but just wonderful presence of mind to cut this one off. He's running the other way. Look at that. He's the only one that's seen it. He's done it 3 or 4 occasions tonight, Simo.
Well, it's been more about Fremantle tonight, but I've been really impressed with the spirit and energy of this young Essendon side who I don't think they've turned their toes up at all tonight. Just when you think it's going to be a blowout, they've held, some honest football.
Well, that's the interesting thing from a Fremantle perspective. Their percentage from the teams in the top 8, they've got a bit of work to do to catch some of those other sides further up the table. And when you're in the mix, these types of games, they won't want to be letting the margin creep back. The Bombers continue to push. Fremantle will be wanting to push on and make the scoreline as big as possible. It's out to the wing, Caldwell. Roberts. Hobbs cropped the footy. Did well to win it back. Roberts goes in on his knees. Hobbs, Parrish. High ball over the head of Gresham. Bounce important. Aish there. Hasn't had too many opportunities this season. As Chapman is wrapped up. That'll be a ball up. Margin 33.
Yeah, so 37 points at 3/4 time. It's all about percentage, right? Percentage is one thing, but it's actually just finishing the game off and feeling good about yourself. You've played a full 4 quarters.
It is hard to talk about percentage at 3/4 time if you're the coach on your way to manipulate and talk about...
How would you address it?
Well, you'd talk about winning the quarter first and foremost and winning it the right way, getting some field position, playing your role, being honest with the game, not trying...
Tracy.
Great mark. Do things on your own.
Strong mark from the big Freo forward who was taking a game saver last week to hold on against the Kangaroos. And he's bounced back with 3 goals tonight. A little bit of a lean stretch in front of the big sticks. They've just roosted up the line. Voss there. Price competed well in the air. Voss at ground level. Erasmus. Brayshaw. Always there to connect. Johnson with a long handball back. Tracy loads up to the 50. Sharp.
There's the third mark inside 50 prize. Another one who's worked really hard down there and fortunate kick really to land in Sharp's hand, but
not sure if that's how they drew it up.
It wasn't how it was drawn up, but you know what it does highlight? It highlights, as Tracy takes a really nice mark there, changing angles and actually kicking the ball off the line
with an inverted flower bag.
Yeah, correct. But it just highlights why you do need to move the ball off that line.
There's a kick to goal in his last 4. Jeremy Sharp had 10 goals last season, just the 3 for this campaign. And it'll stay at the 3 as that one stays out to the right. Hard runner for the Dockers, Jeremy Sharp. Thursday night footy from Optus Stadium. 34-point lead to Fremantle. Now Parrish. Approaching in on 30 disposals. Will be number 29 for him. Up the line they go. All punched away by May. Swallowed in the tackle. It's Banfield by Caldwell. Caldwell 29 disposals, 5 tackles now on the night. Another productive evening for him. Flicked the handball, Erasmus over his shoulder, O'Driscoll, Aish, Ryan, Clark. Now Chapman can straighten and lower the vision. It's over the head of Tracy, but following him behind was Frederick.
He hasn't had a great night, Michael Frederick, but he has been in the right position on a number of occasions. He's kicked one goal, but hasn't really touched the ball, and sometimes that can happen around that half-forward flank or pressure forward role, but it was a really nice kick in from Chapman. A chain through the corridor opens that 450 up.
Going to keep pressing right to the final siren, and it's Frederick whose kick goes across the face.
So there's some opportunities in this last term. That's 2 goals, 4 in this last term.
They put the balls on them. After we said that was 7 straight from set shots. That's the scores total in this final quarter. No one could take the mark in the end. All the old footy coming up. Kako with a run and a bounce, and Caddy again presents nicely. Plays that role well for a player in just his 2nd season. As Perkins now bumped off it by Brayshaw and spills away Ryan. Brendan Cox back inside. Sarong, disposal 34. Around his body to the wing. Tracy almost. Clark's there.
Just again, Josh Tracy getting his body in the right spot there. Talk about his craft, Caleb Sarong. That's his 34th disposal, but Tracy out of position, able to create a half contest.
Wagner, ball knocked out. Almost. No, kept it in play. Towards Tracy, who trapped it, and he was immediately trapped. Got a stoppage. Mentioned earlier, Cope Strong averaging 32 disposals across the last 4 games, which Fremantle have all won. Another 34 tonight. The correlation between his form and the wins that Fremantle are getting.
Or causation.
Ball through the middle. Roberts after it. Bombers. Handball Gresham. Luau is after the footy. And a high ball goes inside 50. Ball knocked away. Draper after it. Caddy around the body to the square. Mate, Brendan Cox just knocked it down. Through for a rush behind.
Four minutes to go. You'd think Fremantle should really be going for another couple of goals, but they look pretty tight. It's been a 5-day break. They'll take the win. They'll move on to the next week and probably go down to slow mode and take the spare. If Essendon give them a spare, they'll take it and just manage the last 3 or 4 minutes. As I said, a 5-day break, perhaps, and perhaps it does wear in.
Clark out towards Brendan Cox. So the Dockers watching on.
And none of those players in there will be playing for Peel on the weekend. Isaiah Dudley, Michael Walters, Jude to play, we think, perhaps this weekend.
It's been on the cusp the last couple of weeks and not quite got to the start line with a bit of soreness in that knee.
Sean Darcy rested or managed, or whatever the terminology is for this weekend. And you talk about that 5-day break. When you do have a bit of a sore knee and trying to get him through the rest of the season.
The question is, if this was a big game they needed to win, would he have played?
Jackson down, Warner, Erasmus. Jackson's had big numbers, as he tends to do. He plays more game time as that solo run. Amos takes a good mark.
Every game's a big game. Talking about.
Well, what would you do?
I'll just play them. I think if that's their way, just do it, and sometimes it might not be ideal, but if it's their system, they should just back it in.
Ball stayed in, read up the line, off hands.
Well, we saw the stat that when the two play together, they actually win more than their isolated one-on-one, as in the lone ruckman. So,
well, when Jackson can go on ball, so I think it's not horses for courses for me. I'll just stick with it and let Voss be permanent forward.
Jackson in the ruck, off the side of the boot that time. Spills away Frederick, dangerous in this situation. Skips past Lowell, and Frederick with the finish.
section to go. He's worked his backside off all night, up and down the ground, as you tend to have to do in that high half-forward role. Well done by Luke Jackson. What a game he's had. 12 score involvements, 3 goals himself, 9 clearances now for Luke Jackson. But when you've got a dominant ruckman like that, you can afford to take the game on ahead of the play and let your talent get to work. And he's electric when he's at his best, Michael Frederick.
Now, you've obviously seen a lot of them in the last few years. Their defence has normally been the bedrock of what they're trying to do. Have you noticed, obviously in the last 6 rounds, that they've been pretty good? Have you noticed anything different?
Well, they're back to where they were last year, and they were the number 1 or 2 side last year, as the numbers show here, and they have been the last 6 weeks. It's been system and defence. It's not just been 1 or 2 players. It's been their approach from a whole to defend the ground.
Parrish to Caldwell to centre field. High ball to half forward. May is there, off hands. Kako. Feed it back inboard to Caldwell. Right. Was there, almost took it, slipping over. A bit of a accidental trip from Brendan Cox in the marking contest, and the Dockers survive it. Clark takes them on. Merritt's got him. Wagner out towards Luke Ryan. His 12th mark of the evening.
We'll see Shea Bolton ahead of the play there, just playing deep and 1 out.
Big amounts of space opening up. Erasmus go wide to Giannis. Bolton still deep in attack, calling for the footy, darting this way and that. Reed led into the same space, and in the end it's knocked away and out of play.
What a great forward 50 entry on that occasion from Amos. He's fought hard in this second half.
What's holding him back? He hasn't hit the same heights as previous. His accuracy's down a little bit, but what else is there to work?
I think having both Tracy and Voss has probably hindered him a little bit to help the team.
Reed's over his head. Bombers there in number. Parrish out of defence. H knocked it down well to Johnson, to Wagner. Wants a target. Voss! And he might enjoy this one.
Well done for Wagner just to find a pass inside 50, not blaze away from just outside. And here's part of the reason you talked about. So Joe Ohm is playing up the ground on this occasion. Voss is the one dead. Well done by H to bring them to ground, and then a nice pass in from Wagner. Good presentation up at the ball wire. Big Paddy Voss.
Paddy Voss ready to go. I'm sure he'll celebrate 2 seasons he had at Essendon. He was a bomber. He never made his debut at AFL level for Essendon. Against his former side, was the seconds ticked down. It's tight, but he couldn't quite get there. He would have loved a goal just before the final siren. Now the Bombers will bring it back in as the seconds tick down on a Thursday night at Optus Stadium. Fucked out of play.
Professional performance really tonight. They've done what they needed to do. They haven't been outstanding, but they'll take the win. No injuries. Have some good system. Clearance works back in order.
Freo fans got the chant going in the dying stages. Jackson has been dominant. Wagner sends it in. And a good mark taken back there by Roberts. The Bombers will see it clear. Well, Fremantle salute on a Thursday night. They've got a good run of form going. 5 wins in a row for the Dockers as they win by 41 points. Stretch together. It's their second time they've won 5 in a row under Justin Longmuir. They did the same thing when they made the finals back in 2022. They're enjoying the comforts of home, and they're putting together a good little stretch.
They are, and a lot of teams that have the ultimate success get on a run and they win 5 to 10 games in a row. And if this is the start of that with what they've got in front of them, I'm not talking flag medal, Pav, don't worry about that. But I am talking top 4, possibly.
Let's get down to Kath Lockman.
We've got Jordan Clark alongside me. How satisfying is that, not only to to win, but win comfortably as you strive to do so in your home deck.
Yeah, no, it's bloody good. I mean, it wasn't sexy. And I was probably one of those main culprits tonight, but gee, we had a go, and that's why I'm proud of this group. Like, you know, we've just come a long way since the start of the year, and to keep winning and build on our form, and to learn out of last week, bring it today, and we've still got so much growth. It's so exciting, and I just love being a part of these wins.
So what word would you use to describe it then, Jordan?
We're on the way up. We've still got a bit of work to do. We're a bit untidy at times, but we're sort of embracing that and just moving on with mistakes and getting on with it. And I think if we all play that way and just keep buttering up and looking after each other, we tend to be a pretty good footy team.
What do you think would be most pleasing internally as JL addresses you post game? What would you be most pleased with tonight? Because it was such an even spread performance.
Yeah, I think just our ability to probably put them away. I think that's something we haven't been great at this year. We've had a few decent leads coming in the three-quarter time and sort of let them sort of fiddle away down to nothing like last week, and to keep that buffer to 9, sort of put them away. It's just a next step that these groups keep taking, and we're maturing every week.
How would you describe Caleb Sarong's game tonight? He was immense.
There was a few guys who were immense. I mean, Big Dog is a superstar, and I think Caleb's not far behind him in that bracket. I think, they led the way tonight, and it's a privilege to play alongside those boys.
And yourself, you're putting together such a great season. Matthew Paplich said it's one of the most underrated seasons, and he's an All-Australian selector, so that's good for you. But how would you assess your own game and the season you're putting together?
I just want to win. I just want to play finals, and I want to win. I love winning with this group. It's a great bunch of lads to be a part of, and all that other stuff doesn't really bother me. So, I think, like I said before, I just have a red hot go, and however it comes out game day, that's what you're going to get. So, it's good.
You sure do, and you look like you want to go celebrate. So, well done, Jordan.
Thanks, Kath. Appreciate it.
Jordan Clark with 33 disposals tonight. Is he?
All right, while we wait for the players to do the club song, and of course, after I give you a bit of a wrap-up of the stats, etc., we'll put it back down to the commentators, and they'll give a bit of a wrap-up of the game too. But well done to the Fremantle Dockers doing it again. Well done to Game Board Teenagers, one bowler, right? So I owe you when I get back over to the Philippines. My gosh, you can look forward to that bowler. Hey, hang on a minute. Here's Caleb Sarong being interviewed.
At home, we've shot ourselves in the foot a couple of times, so we owe the fans a nice Thursday and Friday night win, which is good. Good to see it turn out.
So that was in the back of your mind tonight, having missed a few opportunities in prime-time footy. You wanted to set the record straight this evening?
Not necessarily, but we just want to play our footy at any opportunity, and obviously we had a Thursday night game against St Kilda early in the year, or Friday night, whatever it was, and we didn't turn up, and we just want to be a team that shows up the same way every single week, and we haven't shown that this year, but we're building towards that, so it's a good step tonight.
So you just get it done against North Melbourne last week, but so dominant and comfortable winners this evening. What was the difference in your eyes?
We played a bit more like our way tonight. It's the details. We've got a young group, and once the details are off just a little bit, it's tough to kind of in game sometimes get it, wrestle it back, and it's just minor things in AFL footy these days. North turned up last week, and we did enough to get the win and relied on moments, but we don't want to be a team that relies on moments. We want to rely on a system, 18 guys in the field at any one time, producing their role to the best of their ability and being a good teammate, and felt like we really did that tonight.
Huge game by yourself, but I know you're more comfortable talking about others, so I'm going to ask you about Luke Jackson. I mean, that first half in particular, he just looks like he can do it all at times.
Yeah, he's a special player. We love having him. He's not going anywhere. Not letting him out at East Freo. He's locked in there with us, so I love playing with him, and I think what him and Sean are going to build over the next couple of months is really exciting, and I can't wait to be a part of it. As a midfielder, I'm licking my lips, and Dogger is special. He's just confidence is building week on week.
So you're setting the record straight right now. He's not going anywhere.
Nowhere.
And what about Pat Boss? He can't go anywhere, surely. He brings such energy in that goal celebration in the final quarter.
The prancing pony. Wasn't sure exactly what kind of velocity we're going to get tonight. Coming up against his old mob, he was pretty nervous this week, so he had some really good mates playing out here for Essendon, and I know he loved his time there, so to see him turn up like he did tonight, he's a barometer for us. The energy he brings, both on offense, but more importantly on defence, when the ball hits the ground, he's laying those big tackles, and he gets the boys going. I love playing with him.
Yeah, look like you got the team D back. So Prancing Pony, that's getting a run day in, day out at Freo.
Well, the thing is, I hadn't heard it until he ran with it on TV last week, so I think he's just giving it to himself, but I like it, so I'm running with it.
So that was a Fox Footy exclusive. We like that. Well done tonight, and enjoy this win.
Thanks, Gav. Appreciate it.
All right, there we go. That was Caleb Sarong, bit of an interview. Of course, Vossi, the Prancing Pony, his new nickname there in the team. I think they enjoy that. 16-8, 104 the Dockers, 9-9-63 the Bombers. It was the Fremantle Dockers by 41 points here tonight, folks. And of course, the Dockers finishing off the final quarter with 3 goals, 5. 3 goals, 5. The Bombers, 3 goals, 1. All right, let's just have a little bit of a look at the goal scorers and disposal getters. The ladder for Eddie G. Of course, we did have the poll in there. 69% said Fremantle would win that. So well done to everyone in the live chat. Multiple goal scorers for Fremantle. Josh Tracy. Luke Jackson ended up with 3 apiece. Caleb Sarong, 2. Frederick, 2. Shai Bolton, 2. Paddy Voss, 1. Mark Reed, O'Driscoll, and Brayshaw with 1. For the Bombers, it was Archer, May, and Lual with 2 each. Peter Wright, Kako, Dersma, Caddy were the single goal scorers. And let's have a look at the leading disposal getter. Of course, Caleb Sarong, he had a fantastic game as well. 35 touches, 24 kicks, 11 handballs, 5 marks, 4 tackles, 7 clearances, 2 straight goals. Well done. Jordan Clark, 33. Luke Ryan, 32. For the Dockers, Jai Corbell, 32. Darcy Parish, 31. They were the only ones in 30 this evening. Andy McGrath on 22. Let's roll down a little bit more. We'll see who we've got. There's the man, Luke Jackson, we were talking about. They were talking about how good he was tonight. 21 disposals, 11 kicks, 10 handballs, 4 marks, 4 tackles, 48 hitouts, 10 clearances from the big man, 3 straight goals. Got to be in the Brownlow votes. That is for sure. Fantastic. Let's roll on down there. Vincenti, 15 disposals. I think it was the debut player. We'll be down with the team song in just a moment. There are your team stats. There are your player stats. We'll have a look at the team stats in a minute. Let's get down to the Dockers room for a moment while they sing the song.
Their poorest performance of the year.
Let's head into the rooms for the song.
Way free, oh, way to go. Hit him with the hand, hit him with the local free, oh, heave ho. There we go, free, oh, free, oh. All right, let's head on over to the team stats and we'll get back to the commentators to give their analysis and the wrap up of the game. It was the Dockers getting on top in the disposal count, of course, just too good this evening, plus 27 disposal count all told. And of course, it was 24 scoring shots to Dockers, 18 scoring shots to Bombers. The Dockers went inside 57 times while we dominated there, 34 to the Bombers, plus 23. That's a big discrepancy. Dockers controlled it, 79%. They lifted their disposal efficiency after three-quarter time. Well done to the Dockers in that aspect. Fantastic. And, of course, the free kicks, the umps did give them a little bit more to the Dockers, but I think, you know what, I think they were pretty well umpired this evening in this game. 23-16. The Dockers plus 7 there. The hitouts, so the big man did the job. 53-24 in the hitouts. Wowee. Clearances, Dockers crunched the Bombers. They turned it around and got on top 44-26. Wow. I tell you what, makes a big difference when you get all these clearances. Luke Jackson, 21 disposals, 12 scoring shots, 12 score involvements. As I was saying about Luke Jackson, well done. Centre clearances, 17-8. Big margin there. Dockers blitzing the hitouts and the clearances, 27-18. Stoppage clearances as well. Contested possessions, well, contested, uncontested, reasonably tight. Turnovers, just about on season average. Bombers weren't too bad on 55 under season average, so that was pretty good. The marks, 99-85. Marks inside 50. Well, after half-time, the Dockers improved there. I think they were only 1 at half-time, so then that was 6. Well done to the Dockers for correcting some of that. 13 to the Bombers contested marks, both teams contesting their marks pretty well, both above season average. Tackle count a little bit low tonight, but there was still good pressure on nonetheless in this game by both sides. The Essendon pressure just fell away a little bit as the Dockers continued. That's what we were saying at halftime, three-quarter time, is what team will continue their pressure, their run, and their drive to win this game this evening. And it was definitely the Dockers. The Bombers fell away just a little bit. So there we go, even though it was +3 tackles to the Bombers. Inside 50 tackles, Dockers did well, lifted their 11 to 6. We definitely like to see that. Now let me just see if we can update this live ladder, and there is the live ladder, of course. Fremantle, there we go. They jump up into 6th spot now. They go from 8th to 6th, 36 points, all level with the Adelaide Crows, Hawthorn, Fremantle, all sitting on 36 points. 110% now, the Dockers. They picked up about 4%. Which is really, really good. Only 1.6%, as you can see here, behind Hawthorn. As for the Bombers down there in 12th position, sitting on 24 points, 6 wins, 8 losses. 2 games out of the top 8 plus percentage. That's going to be a real rocky road. That's going to be really tough for the Bombers. The only one good thing for the Bombers, I think, is they still should have that game in hand with the Gold Coast Suns. I'm still not sure when they're going to play that game, but that's still going to be really hard for the Bombers to come back from here. There is the ladder now as it stands. Fremantle up into 6th position. And, of course, next week, folks, the Bombers have a bye. Hopefully this is the end of the bye, because the bye seem to have been dragging on for some time now. So the Essendon have the week off next week. And, of course, Fremantle, they play again at home at Optus Stadium in Perth. This beautiful stadium over there in Perth. They'll play St Kilda, so it'll be 6th versus 14th. Another game that the Fremantle Dockers would be definitely wanting to win and take full advantage of these games they got at home. So good things coming to the Dockers if they can continue on this merry way and continue their winning form and the way they're playing, because they really do play, starting to play well. And that's one of the things they're really, as a team coming into the second half of the season, you really you need to lift your game and start to perform well, get every aspect of your game running smooth as silk as you're going to run into the finals. But round 15 this is, and the Fremantle Dockers winners by 41 points here over the Bombers at Optus Stadium in Perth in what was a fantastic game to watch. Well, it was a game that was pretty even up until midway through that the third term. The third quarter, it was when the Dockers started to get on top and assert their authority in this game today. The Bombers just couldn't break the Dockers tonight. It was the Dockers who broke the Bombers. All right, folks. Hey, don't forget tomorrow night's game. We've got a huge game coming up tomorrow night. Of course, that is Geelong taking on the Brisbane Lions down there at GMHBA Stadium in Geelong. I'll tell you what, this is going to be a shaky game for the Brisbane Lions, as we see Brisbane sitting 3rd on the ladder, Geelong on 2nd on the ladder. If Geelong win this, they will just about go on top of the ladder. Of course, Collingwood still yet to play on Saturday night against St Kilda. So big game for Geelong, big game for Brisbane. Brisbane have been out of form a little bit, so it'll be interesting to see what they can pull out of the bag, so to speak, and see what they can do. But that should be an absolute ring-a-ding-ding game tomorrow night. Of course, that's 7:40 p.m. Tomorrow evening, that game kicks off, so make sure you join us then. Just want to thank everyone for coming in tonight. My bowl of rice. Hey, one bowl of rice. It's coming when I come back over there. You remind me, we'll take you out and I'll get you that bowl of rice. My gosh, you won tonight. We'll have to do a double or nothing on the next one, Lang. I think that should be a good way, I think. Well, I'll take you back to the commentators, folks. They'll give us a bit of analysis and wrap up on the game for this evening. But from me, it's ciao for now. We'll see you tomorrow night at the next game. Thanks all for coming on in. Appreciate everyone. when you come back, I don't know, when the budget allows it, or I get a big enough super chat that I can get a flight over there and some accommodation, or anyone want to sponsor me to go to the Philippines, I'll be quite happy with that. We'll get back over there. Who knows, Diba? Can't wait my rice. Shut up. I know, it'll be good. We'll have that bowl of rice with some Copico brown coffee. Sounds fantastic, Lang. All right, folks. Hey, that's enough of me talking. I will just take us back to the commentators. They'll give us a bit of a wrap up on the game before we end this. But yeah, we'll see you tomorrow night.
To me, like he's working harder than I've seen him working.
Where do you play him?
Well, I think he's a true centre-half forward that loves to roam up and then come back with the ball, because he is a really good athlete. He seems to have a good footy brain. I don't think anyone else knew where that kick was going except for him, and he basically forced Kaka to go back and grab it. But I just like what he does. He's smart, he's sensible. He doesn't try to do the impossible things. Like, he doesn't try to be super flashy. Yeah. He just does what comes natural.
He's all those things, isn't he, Kingy? But we were talking, watching the game. He's also got no fear. Like, he's a guy that's prepared to make a mistake, go for something and try. I mean, we saw the goal over his head a few weeks ago, but he'll go and try and kick a torp. He'll sit on heads. He'll try and pull off a kick that might not work. So that's what I love about him. As much as he's got everything else, he's got no fear. He's happy to make mistakes and just to try and help his team win.
Tall Toby Green. But even that
doesn't care.
Even that torp you spoke about, he summed up the situation. He said, well, I've just got to take ground. So I'll kick a torp and take as much ground as I possibly can. That's the best option.
It's like the one you said earlier. He took the mark. There was no one in front of him. So he goes, I'm just going to take him on and run and bounce. Just try and take some grass, make something happen, which I love about him. He's got the right attitude.
Don't let the coaches touch him, Jace. Just let him play like
this. Tall Toby Green, I like that.
Yeah, he's a beauty. The talk, we don't see many players go for a talk.
I think he's less volatile than Toby.
Well, we hope not.
Well, okay, maybe not.
If he can have the career that Toby Green's had, we would take that. Let's go into the newsroom where John Ralph has the latest on the injuries for both clubs, including Desma for the Bombers.
That's right. So Xavier Desma gave us the bow and arrow on the goal, and then minutes later he was subbed at halftime with hamstring soreness. So it's another soft tissue concern for Essendon. Spoke to Essendon football boss Dan McPherson pre-match, and he said we're still investigating the cause of some of those soft tissue concerns. There's no smoking gun just yet. There are little things, so it's certainly not the club's ovals. They revamped both of those in the off-season. They think that the penetrometer, the hardness factor, is not one of those issues. Zach Reid had played a massive amount of game time when he did his hamstring post in a contest, and I'll try and reduce some of that when he returns. But again, no big flaw revealed. So Sam Durham post-bye will return from his suspension, and these four players will train through the bye. Good luck to them. Redmond and Langford, they will certainly join in that team post-bye. And then also Reid and Ridley. The club's hopeful they'll also be there against Gold Coast, but they're 3 wins percentage out. Their finals hopes are in tatters right now. So for Fremantle, Sean Darcy will return in 10 days' time. The mix and match with the ruck seems to be working. Michael Walters and Jager O'Meara will both play waffle coming off long-term injury. So great news for the Dockers. And just last one, Alex Pearce. So of course he's had some shin soreness. He's only just been able to start running again pain-free. And having spoken to the club's football boss and Joe Bridie, Jason, pre-match, he's really hopeful that he's back next week. I think it's probably the week after. They brought him back from that broken arm last year, broke it again, and so they just want to make sure that he's absolutely right. But Freo in really good spot, and Sean Darcy's certainly going well. I just wanted to manage him with a 5-day break with that knee concern that he's going to have to unfortunately manage for the rest of his career.
Sensible management. Good work, Ralphie. If you have a look at what Ralphie was just saying with the Bombers, it sounds like the reinforcements are coming. They are going to get some of these players back. Vicentini, we saw debut tonight. Jason did a couple of nice things, some encouraging things that he can kind of be proud of.
He did, and we spoke a lot about Luke Jackson and how well he played, and he did, and he kicked 3 goals, did all those sorts of things. But a young ruckman that carried the load in his first game came out and he had a red-hot crack. I like his ability to get involved at ground level. This was a big tackle that he laid. Nearly poleaxed himself, but he was desperate to get there. Laid a good tackle. I think, again, provided he pulls up okay, keep playing him until he needs a rest. Just play him and play him and play him until he needs a rest. You've got Todd Goldstein when he does need that rest, but in the meantime, play the young blokes because he looks like he's got a bit to give.
It's a good call, isn't it? You might as well, and there's a lot of talk about what's going to happen with Draper at the end of the year and whether he stays. So, to expose Vicentini with some games now would be great. I mean, he had 5 intercept possessions, he had some clearances, he threw himself into the contest. Yep. Now, he got beaten by a super player on the day, but there was a lot to like about the way he went about it.
Let's chat about a Freo youngster, Murphy Reid. Kingy loved a little piece of play.
He's just smart. He's just creative. He's one of
of those players that just gets front and square all the time. And I love his finishing position when the ball's coming into a contest. You can see here, he almost sets his player up, lateral to the contest and swoops. There's a lot of kind of rosy about some of his work here. To see where it's going before his opponent and to just get on the loose ball. Now, he's a first-year player, 13 touches. He's never going to have 30. He's just going to give us highlights, 4 score involvements. It wasn't a lot of opportunity for him on the ground inside that forward 50, but I just think in the next few weeks he's got a 4-goal game. Right.
Another one.
Yeah, another one. Yeah, he's already had one.
He's had
his
two.
first game.
Yeah, he's had two. Yeah.
His first game was a 4-goal game in about 8 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he's got another one coming because he just gets the right spot all the time, Sarah.
They've got a talented list, haven't they, Fremantle? It really would be a shame if they missed out on finals because they've got a lot of potential. Let's head into the rooms where Pav is down there. Pav, what have you got for us?
Here with one of the players of the match, Luke Jackson. Appreciate your time. I just saw you catching up with Luke Travers, an ex-teammate of yours, plays at the Cavs, for those that love their basketball. Tell us your childhood friends.
Yeah, so we went to school together. He's over from the States at the moment, so got him a chain room pass. And good to see him. I haven't seen him for a while, so it's good.
Were you giving him any tips the way you played tonight? There was a bit of basketball action in and around the ball.
Yeah, I had a few little hits myself, but nah, he doesn't need that. So.
Mate, what did you make of the game? I thought the midfield, and in particular led by you, after quarter time really got to work.
Yeah, definitely. We got a quality midfield, and so did Essendon. They have some damaging players in there, but yeah, we wanted to have a 4-quarter performance, and we can still build on it, but it was a good step in the right direction.
You hit the scoreboard as well, along with Josh Tracy. Some big moments for you. Is that something you're trying to do, get ahead of the play and take the ruckman and try to defend?
Yeah, definitely. I back my running in, and I think it's the strength of my game, playing that position. So, yeah, try to push forward in the right moments and see if I can hit the scoreboard.
Get a bit of a break now, obviously 10 days before the Saints game, and the luxury of being here in Perth for, almost a month, 5 weeks. It must be nice to be home.
Yeah, it helps. Definitely notice a difference. We got St Kilda there, another quality side. So 10-day break, rest of the body, and come out firing.
Anything planned for the weekend, Jacko?
Nah, not much at all. Very cruisy person. So
enjoy that,
relax.
and well played tonight.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Luke Jackson, what a game he had for the Fremantle Dockers. Well, we've still got plenty more to come in the wrap-up. Of course, the coaches will front the media, Justin Longmire and Brad Scott, to explain what happened tonight. John Ralph will be out there with Wreck-It Ralph. And more fun and games from the Chief Goalkeepers, all in line, won't you, Chiefy?
Day on the Ivian Trail.
You're watching Thursday Night Footy on Fox.